I'm 45. I shouldn't be shitting my pants.
Welcome to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode number 90.
Woo!
Woo! Oh, yeah, 90 is a big one. It's not quite 100, but we'll talk more about 100 later. I am Dave Z.
Oh, my name is Christian.
And my name is Brandon.
Ooh.
AKA Grimsby, AKA Top of the Mops, AKA Rookie of the Year, AKA Brandon Newblood, AKA Brandon Don't Breathe. Any other AKAs?
Wow.
Asshole.
That was...
AKA Asshole, AKA Skunk Face.
AKA Mr. 1000. How about that one?
Yes. Oh, man.
Not women, everybody.
1,000 lonely nights.
Woo. Awesome. Well, what about the 1,000B? You said you mentioned it last show that on Halloween night you were going to hit number 1,000, and it was going to be Carrie, I think. Maybe I'm way off.
It was supposed to be Halloween 3.
Oh, okay.
It wound up not happening that way. I actually wound up hitting 1,000 a few days earlier.
Oof.
But Halloween was still good. I actually went original Halloween this year.
Would you never do that?
78, such a cliche, I know. But you know what?
Hey,
it was a great time. I'm now currently at 1,032.
Jesus.
And I recently looked it up, the record, the Guinness record. That's I'm sure people have done more, but the actual Guinness record is 1,132 movies watched in a year.
You're going to kill it. There's like 2 months left.
Yeah, I'm planning on beating that.
You're going to win Guinness.
Well,
you have to do it. You can. It's public. It's free promotion for the podcast. Of course, do it. Are you nuts?
If you don't do it, you're off the fucking show.
I don't know how would they even prove that I watched this? I'm sure they have some sort of way of verifying as you're doing it.
Did you take notes?
Vince is biting at the chops to get on this thing.
Wait, you broke up. What's he biting at? You scared me. What's he biting at?
You'll never know.
All I know is my anus just puckered up.
So wow, what a great way to start the show. What a
Yeah.
great way to know. B's gonna set a world record. How many podcasts you listen to where a host sets a world record?
Yeah, whether or not it becomes official or not, I'll look into it, but I have done it. I legitimately did it, and that's 1,000 plus different movies.
You know
so
what?
rewatches don't count, because I have probably an additional 30, 35 rewatches.
Well, wait, do rewatches count for the world record? Maybe they do count for that. Or is it brand new movies?
I'm just doing different movies. I'll still break
know
the
you're
record
doing
with just
that.
different movies, because
Okay.
I don't even have track of my rewatches. I could just tell by going on Letterboxd, like next show, we're doing the VHS trilogy. I already watched VHS 1 and 2. So when I rewatch them for the show next week, they don't go to the tally. Only Viral will.
There's a bit of a correction there, Dave. The NFW did break a record, bored the most listeners.
Hi, Nudie.
Nudie!
I did. I made that video. You know how much fucking time it takes to make a fucking mock video? And then he's like, I get it, my show sucks, or whatever. I'm like, no, I thought he would like it. I thought he'd laugh. I made that little tribute video with Glenn.
Wait, he really does a podcast?
Shh, I told him you were one of his favorite. He was one of your favorite podcasters.
I
Remember?
love Neil. Neil's funny as hell.
He is funny as hell. But I don't think he found my joke too funny.
Maybe he's hanging out with too many sensitive dudes. I don't know. Maybe he's getting sensitive himself.
Florida is
I don't
pretty
know.
sensitive.
Well, I don't know. Don't be sensitive. You never know with Neil. Sometimes he's joking. I don't know if he's really mad about the witch or not. He's tired of hearing about it.
Speaking about the witch, thank you, Christine and Doug. Thank you.
What? Wait, huh? So, whoa. First of all, we didn't get her all. What did you say about Doug? I can't believe.
Thank you, Christine and Doug. She sent me this gift.
Oh,
Yeah.
are you serious?
It's Black Phillip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my
I'm
God.
assuming Doug's your husband. No, I know it's your husband. It was the nicest thing. I haven't even put it on Facebook yet. I went to the mail right before the show. It must have come yesterday. And I went and I got it. I'm like, holy shit, I got to bring this on the show tonight. So this is fresh.
Wow.
Fresh out of the mailbox.
You're
Wow.
welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, Brandon gave it up. Christine messaged us because she gave you the poster, and then she felt like she owed us something. Christine, you did not owe us anything, but it's much appreciated. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no, she was really cool, and she gave us. She posted a digital code for 3 from Hell, so I took that. So when she posted that she had the extra Funko Pop, I said, you know, why don't you see if Christian wants it since I took the code.
Oh,
and
yeah.
of course he wanted it, that cheap bastard.
And I forgot.
If I had known the Funko was coming, I would have been like, fucking take the code.
We didn't even mention what it was. You mentioned the witch, and it just happens to be a Black Phillip Funko Pop. So the people that are watching the video, which is just the patrons, they would have seen it. But for the listeners out there, yeah, a Black Phillip Funko Pop.
Wow, so cool. There are only I do not like Funkos, and I'll leave it at that. But I'll tell you what, there are 2 Funkos I would like to own, and only 2: Black Phillip
Yes.
and Sackhead Jason. They're the only ones I like the look of them.
I got both of them.
Really?
Yeah, I got.
Do you have more?
Yeah, I got all the Jasons, except for there was some exclusive that if you can find it anywhere, the unmasked one. When I think he's not necessarily a boy, but it's unmasked Jason. That one I don't have. I've got Jason, pixelated Jason, blue pixelated Jason, Roy Jason, regular Jason, and
Did you pay for them?
some of them I paid for, and I think Justin D sent me 2.
Look at this guy. Wow. Everybody loves Christian. You ever hear that show? Everybody loves Raymond. Everybody loves Christian. You know. Back to the show tonight, guys. We are going to talk about. We are doing 2 triple R's from the patrons and a feature from the patrons. We're talking about the Funhouse and Humanoids. The Funhouse from Gary, triple R. Humanoids from the Deep from Chris, triple R. And the Orphanage from Mark. So that's what we have planned tonight. And by the way, gentlemen, this is the last time we will have to do triple R's as a thing. You know, well, we're doing triple R's, but we're going to reclaim triple R's to what they originally were. But this is the last time we have patron selected triple R's. From now on, it's trilogies or a feature, or that's it. So it's been a fun ride.
And I've got some wacky trivia. Shits and giggles, you can play at home as well. What movie am I watching in the background? There's no audio. Take a wild guess.
I'm going to say right now, it's the Funhouse.
Brandon? What?
Humanoids from the Deep.
It's neither of those 2. It is Prom Night
4?
4.
Oh.
Don't do it. You're better off getting out a box of red wine.
Nice. Oh.
You know what? I really kind of want to rewatch it again because it is such a big drop off. Because I liked the first one, but I really love the second one, and the third one's a lot of fun too. But man, 4 was just such a drop off.
Yeah, you do have to watch it again because I think it gets now shit on more than it deserves to get shit on. I'm not saying it's not perfect by any means, and it should not have made. In retrospect, and I'm not trying to renege. Well, I guess I am, but it should have made my 50 when there's a couple other like Dr. Giggles and a few other high caliber ones probably should have made it there. However, because I was so like, wow, I like this more than like people give credit for. They always say it sucked, and it doesn't suck. However, I take my licks. Everybody's gonna mock me for it for the rest of my life. I'll take it, but I'm watching it in the background.
Okay. And a boy. And those are fingers just for the patrons.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will. How about this? I think that at Prom Night 4, if there had never been a Prom Night 2 and 3 as the ones that we know of, if Prom Night 4 would have come out as Prom Night 2, people would not be shitting on it. How's that for you? Think about that. If there was only 2 prom nights, the one we know of and the one that we know of as part 4, and that was it, people would not be taking shots at Prom Night 4. So,
what if Prom Night 4 had come out as Candyman 3 Day of the Dead? You're probably right about that, but to be honest, I've really been thinking about it. I agree with you, Christian. There are definitely films on my slasher list towards the bottom that wouldn't make it now because I've rewatched some other slashers that I'm like, why didn't I have this on my list? I like it a lot more now. But I think people fairly shit on slashers and also unfairly shit on slashers.
I was going to say fairly shit.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was lost in thought. And also kind of unfairly praise some of these slashers. I don't know. I like the subgenre. I've just find myself being more and more pulled away from the slasher genre as I'm getting older.
I know what you're saying. I am not there with you, but like, no, but like praise for Trick, which I'll talk about my triple R later. I don't understand it. And I'll get into it. I'll explain why I didn't like it, and later on.
I'm looking forward to that. I actually haven't watched it yet, but
I'm not going to watch it.
I don't know if I'm going to. It's really such a polar split here. I mean, it's only a few people that I've seen that have really liked it, but
right.
You know, to hear somebody rate it an 8 and then see somebody rate it a 2, I'm like, what is it? Is it like that's a big difference? Yeah, difference. That's the word.
Difference. Yes, you're right. It sounds like a police procedural, which to me is going to be a giallo more than a slasher. But again, I haven't watched it, so who am I to say? But
it's its own genre in a sense, and I'm not saying that in a good way. I'm not saying that in a good way.
Next year is the year of the police procedural.
I think Mark Nato wrote that down on the post. We'll get into it.
Yeah, we
start with a triple R. What are we doing here?
What about Haunt? Did you guys see Haunt by any chance, real quick?
I haven't had a chance yet. I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
I saw it and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I liked it. It's not making my list. I don't like the way they wrapped it up at the end at all. I thought that was a bad decision.
Oh, I kind of like that ending. You know what it reminded me of?
How could that happen? It's impossible for
You know what it reminded me of, the ending? I almost wanted to hear this line come out of one character's mouth at the end. Crush the skull! Like that's sorry,
I really dug that movie.
That's how I felt at the end. I was like all pumped up. I was like, I understand what you're saying though. It went a little crazy, but I don't know. I don't know why. I just really enjoyed it. I don't know if it'll make my list either, but it was a really fun film.
When I saw the trailer for that, I was like, is this coming to the theater? Because it looked like it was going to be out a couple weeks later. So I was upset to find out that it wasn't. It was going right to VOD, but I guess that's to be expected in this day and age.
I think it's the kind of movie that would have done okay in the theater. I think it would have been a fun little experience.
I mean, again, Hellfest bombed, unfortunately, but I think it found an audience.
Yeah, people are, you know, comparing the two and, you know, kind of, you know, at battles, which one they prefer. I prefer Haunt a little bit better, actually.
I don't know. I think I am in the same ballpark. I've only seen each once, so I'd have to go back and do it, but whatever.
What are we going to start with, boys?
What do you got there, B?
All right, why don't we start with, why don't we go in actual chronological order and start with 1980s Humanoids from the Deep. Directed by Barbara Peters. This was also called Monster.
Yeah. On Prime. I didn't know that. On Prime, it comes up. Oh, not on Prime. I watched it on Tubi TV. I think I have a copy of the DVD somewhere, but it was on Tubi TV, so that was just easier to use. And it went by Monster.
Yeah, I didn't know that. This was the first time watch for me. So I saw it came up Monster. I'm like, wait, do I have the right movie on? And then it said Monster. Humanoids from the Deep.
Yeah. I have the new Blu-ray, and I don't know if it says Monster or not. But then again...
Well, it goes Monster, and then, like Brandon said underneath, like subtitled Humanoids from the Deep.
Yeah. Okay, scientific experiments backfire and produce horrific mutations, half man, half fish, which terrorize a small fishing village by killing the men and raping the women.
Not a first-time watch for me, but it's been a long time since I saw it. Actually... I'll rephrase that. I tried to watch it in the summer, fell asleep to it. So when I saw it was going to be a triple R, I'm like, awesome. So I started over and from the watch it throughout. It's a little. I mean, this is Roger Corman. There's a shoddiness here, but it's a damn entertaining movie. And I think the part of that entertainment comes from, again, the characters, the setting. It's not just a slapdash like script. I think they put a little bit more thought into the characters, especially with the racist characters, the Native American, sorry.
I know, or Native Canadian.
Native Canadian, yeah. And then the greenskins. So the
Notice I'm not saying anything.
He's afraid to say anything.
I don't want to accidentally drop racism in here.
Accidental racism.
But I thought that added an element to the story that you would not normally expect from this. So it classed it up a bit. I'm not saying it's perfect. There's some really it is some shoddy filming in places and some shoddy editing in places. But overall, it's a fun ride.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that it's kind of done up a little bit, given the fact that it's like Roger Corman. But I feel like that almost hurts it because it almost borders on something else. You almost kind of think it's going to go more piranha.
Yeah.
But I feel like it should have gone just full out exploitation and almost leave the science out of it, because it really took a while to get going. Anytime there were kills, it was great. The gore was fantastic. But
Yes.
it felt like for the first hour, it was just kind of like jumping around between like unwanted dialogue and kind of just boring filler. And then when they got to the killings, that's when it was awesome. And certainly the last 20 minutes was just insane.
It is pretty exploitive, though. I mean, like any woman that's in the movie typically gets their top ripped off.
I was thinking that. I'm like, yeah, there was like literally no reason for the monsters to even do that. They could have just killed the men and the women. Like, I'm going to take your bra off and rape you.
Yeah.
Even Miss Salmon got it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Salmon, isn't that great? I aspire to be Miss Salmon. I'll tell you, this is my second time. The first time was for another podcast, ABC's A Hidden Horror. I want to say that Brian brought it to the table, as is H. So I always avoided it because, as it's been, said before, I was never a creature feature type of guy. So just the title just didn't do anything for me when I was young. Humanoids from the deep. Anything that had to do with the water wasn't really, I don't know, sea creatures just wasn't my thing. And that's just the way I perceived it. Little had I known, I wish I would have seen it as a kid with my friends, because it almost is set up a little like a slasher. You got all that dialogue in a small town setting something up, and then, crazy kills at the end. And even some of the dialogue is, with the younger people and stuff. I don't know. I enjoy it. Rob Bottin, man, that's what I'm talking about. That's why this stuff looks so damn good.
Oh,
Yeah.
he did the effects?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know till I saw the credits at the end. I was like, aha,
The
Yeah,
monsters,
once the
the
credits
monsters
came,
were
I just-
cool.
They were
cool.
a little goofy looking.
Yeah,
But I like the long arms.
I think that was the way they filmed it. I honestly think it was some odd choices for filming, but the rampage at the fair was great at the end. Except,
Dude, how-
what was their thought process of shooting the gasoline? That doesn't even link together. They're all popping up through the floorboards and the dock and whatever like that, attacking people. And meanwhile, the hero and the guy, they're shooting gasoline onto the top of the water to set it on fire.
Eventually, they'd have to go back out to the water, so
But
they
it was
would
like
die.
one little
Yeah,
square
it
foot.
didn't make much sense. I like at the
Hey,
beginning.
Tommy Jarvis did it.
I like at the beginning when the guy shoots the boat, shoots the flare gun onto the boat and blows up the whole boat. He trips and blows everyone up. The funniest scene in the movie, though, is on that carousel. The little girl just riding the carousel, and you just see the monster
Yeah.
getting closer. Like, what the hell? Like, nobody grabs the girl.
I thought that one
And then
kid was going to get killed.
Do you see the two old ladies sitting on the carousel? There's two old ladies sitting on the carousel. They're all bandaged up, and there's smoke like engulfing the whole carousel. And you would think like the ambulance would move these people, but no, they're just sitting there in the smoke. It was just like so funny and cheesy.
Oh, fuck. On the last show, we're talking about how they must have put that dog to sleep in the hunt. They must have done the same thing in this movie. That guy's holding that dog, and it's not a prop dog. I can't imagine it's a prop dog, unless it was like a prototype for the thing.
I think he did a Native American dance and put that dog to sleep.
And what kind of asshole brings a dead dog to a party?
What kind of
Who
asshole
brought
gets
the
his
dead dog?
his dog killed? I would have been pissed
I know,
too.
but
Didn't you notice Louis Tully came out and said, "All right, guys, who brought the dead dog?"
nice. Speaking of dog, how about the first 5 minutes of the film? A kid and a dog get whacked. I was like, bravo! That's how you start a movie. You know, holy cow!
Yeah, they were not afraid to just go all out, which I love. I love when they kill kids and dogs. There were a lot of dead dogs in this film.
And this was directed by a woman?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Nice. I know, and there's rape going on like freaking mad. You know? See, that's great when a woman makes a movie like that. You know, it's what can you say? She wasn't too uptight about it. A dog getting killed, a kid getting killed, and women being raped by
Sea creatures. Frog,
yeah,
half frog, half salmon. What like is that what they were?
sea monkeys.
No, they were salmon. They were escaped salmon that were eaten by the Colchianth fish.
Oh,
And the they're a prehistoric fish, and then for some reason they decided they wanted to mate with Native American women.
Shut up.
Well, no, why? Like there was it didn't make any sense. Like, why are they mating with women?
why?
They never do explain that.
It
They're
doesn't.
horny.
It doesn't
They're
make any
attracted to them. Well, hold on a minute now. They're evolving, so all of a sudden, it's like a teenager. It's like somebody going from non-existence to budding teenage years overnight.
We're
All
talking
of a
about
sudden-
prehistoric fish here.
maybe
though.
because this is directed by a woman, it's her comment on males in society, and they become absolute horn dogs. when they-
You
This movie is actually a psychological drama / character study.
Well, to a degree,
I'm
there.
kidding.
No. There's lots of elements in. I don't know about character study, but there is drama. The stuff going on between Eagle and Slattery, that whole scenario with the native and that guy, and I liked that. I liked the way that all played out, and I liked the way it eventually wrapped up. I thought that was good. I thought it was good.
Eagle was my favorite character. He was badass. He saved everybody. He's just firing recklessly at people.
I know. There's no. They were shooting guns left, right, and center. They love their explosions in this movie. I think there's at least 3 or 4 explosions.
Dude, they threw a Molotov cocktail at Johnny Eagle's house, and the whole thing exploded.
Right.
Like detonated. Like they had 40 pounds of C4 hooked up to that
It's
thing.
like, who do you think did it? I don't know. I didn't see them. What? It could only be every asshole that you've just been dealing with for the last 2 days.
Didn't they blame the monsters? He blamed the monsters at one point, I think, Slattery.
I don't think they saw the monsters at that point, because that's when the monsters started attacking. When the girl goes to town, and then the monster pops up behind the car, sticks his hand through the window, and she drives off the bridge.
I
And
was
then
rooting for her, too.
You see it land in water, and then it explodes, and it's on dry land.
Dude, it's the 80s. That's, when in the action
Hey, it's
films,
the-
if you tap the bumper,
It's the 80s.
both cars exploded.
That's true.
It is true.
A little tap.
But-
Right. I will say this. I really liked that scientist coming in and laying it down. You don't usually see that. Usually there's more, She comes in and says this, and this, and that's how it is, damn it. And
Yeah, how about when she yells at the other scientists when they're back at the lab?
yeah, that's what
Don't
I'm
get me
saying.
this slide. She shamed him.
Yeah, she laid it shit down, man. She was on it. She's like, boom, boom, boom. This is what it is. This is what's going on. I tried to tell you guys what not to do, and here we are.
The only problem with that, I was talking about how they had genetically engineered the fish so that they would grow faster, so they could open the cannery and see a lot of success and growth in this town. So it didn't get I didn't get the impression initially that she was there because there was an issue. Once the issue arises, and all of a sudden she's like, "I told you," but she was still a strong character. But then she sort of disappeared. I think that's what maybe you're talking about with the editing. But I'm not watching a movie like this for the editing, but very jarring at times. Like she's there, they're at the dock, then next thing you know they cut and she's in the lab with the pregnant girl.
No, there's abrupt
Yeah.
cuts like that. I mean, there's just they filmed them quick, put them together, and it flows well enough. But there are some jarring cuts, and I said shoddiness, but that sounds a lot more negative than where I'm at with the movie. It's by no means a masterpiece, but it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. I like it.
Every time they take a swipe at someone, though, and rip flesh off. Oh, my God. I just wanted more of that. I wanted that the whole movie. Just these monsters just absolutely tearing everyone to shreds.
His face half off as he's
in the water, and he's still alive. Oh, that must hurt with the salt water.
And poor Peggy. I wish she
water must have hurt.
Oh, Peggy.
That
Peggy,
his face
right?
being torn off. The salt water.
You know what? I just kind of threw that out there. It's like I don't know why I threw that out there, and I didn't really think it was that funny until you just repeated it back.
That had to hurt. Yeah, the salt water.
Oh, not my flesh with the salt. Oh, the salt.
And poor Vic Morrow.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Fucking. You know, if you learn anything from these movies, from horror films, it's that
don't do Twilight Zone the movie.
John Landis, he's a career killer.
You're talking against your tribe right now, buddy.
Is Landis Jewish?
I thought he was.
He might be.
I don't know. I thought he was known to be Jewish. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, he could be.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, did you guys notice you're talking about the certain weird things? What about the looped screams? Did you notice the looped screams?
Oh my God, that was annoying. Over and over, but that was at the fair at the end, right? It was just the same loop over and over and over again.
It's crazy, dude. It was like watching the Flintstones when they're driving.
the cloud in the background of the house.
Yeah, the same thing. They rock over and over that tree.
Barney.
Yeah, Barney hanging.
But every time they came back to the carousel, the monster was like an inch closer to the girl, and she's just sitting there on the horse.
On the horse, baby. Yeah. How about Bubblicious? Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man. It's a good
What?
Shit. Bubblicious. They were at the thing, and it was being sponsored by a couple things, and it was one of the things that was being sponsored by at the carnival was Bubblicious. It was there. Do you remember Bubblicious, B?
I do.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Remember that? Remember what a big deal chewing gum used to be in the 80s? Because they had Bubblicious, they had Bubble Yum, and they had Hubba Bubba.
Yeah.
Yes. Remember Hubba Bubba? That was that cowboy?
A big league chew.
Guy?
Did you guys have
Big League Chew?
That's still around. It
is. Love it.
When you block a shot or two, you're in the big league. When you're in the big league.
I remember a commercial for Hubba Bubba. It was like, looks like Lockjaw got lockjawed. Remember? Because it was like, you chew it so much, so it was like a Western. And I got to go look at that on YouTube now.
Told you it was a cowboy. Hubba Bubba Bubble Gum. Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, remember what a big deal bubble gum was? Now, not so much.
Yikes! Stripes, fruit stripe gum.
Ooh.
It's a yummy fruity one. Something.
Because I got more flavor than flute stripe gum. Anyway, Humanoids from the Deep. That stabbing at the end, towards the end, was great. Stabbed to freaking death. Dude, that was awesome. That was a slasher kill, once again, you know?
Brandon doesn't seem to have enjoyed it as much as we did.
No. I just felt like it took a while to get going. I felt like it had like the potential to be like epic. Like I love the exploitation and the horror of it. I just didn't like the actual build up and explanation parts of it. Like usually the stuff I like. I felt like just go all out with just tits and blood.
I thought they did kind of for the time, but other than like to still let it play in a theater. And whatnot. I'm not saying I'm not super high, but I mean it's a fun movie. I do recommend everybody check it out. It is on Tubi TV, Canadian edition. But I give it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, I give it a 7.5.
Oh, I give it a 6 out of 10.
All right.
But we all recommend it.
Yeah. I just feel like Piranha's the better movie. Why do I keep saying it like that?
Because they said it in the movie.
I know, but why? I hate myself for saying it like that.
It's your gimmick. Why
not the only one?
Piranha.
You're not the only one. Man, I'm a singing fool tonight. Jeez, okay.
Except for the singing part.
Humanoids from the Deep. And there you have it.
It's so weird. Maybe, okay, here's one last thing I'll say about it, and the reason why I'm kind of conflicted here with me saying I don't like the actual science-y and kind of plot development part of it, is it made the film feel longer. And this film, it's an hour and 20 minutes with credits.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably runs like an hour and 15, which is weird because, like, I found myself checking the time.
Really?
Yeah, and it's really a short film, but, like, I just wanted the kills.
I thought they remade this.
They did, a 96 TV movie.
Oh.
TV movie?
Yeah,
What
made
the
a TV
hell?
movie from 96, because I was looking that up.
So it's nipple-free.
No nips. No.
No nips, no Miss Salmon, no Miss
Nope.
Slap Flounder.
No
I'll
Peggy.
never get TV remakes of exploitation films. Like Trucks.
Oh,
was
I
a
know,
of,
right?
of Maximum Overdrive, and
Yeah.
a TV
Was
remake of this is weird.
Trucks was a remake of Maximum
Well,
Overdrive?
it was the short
Another
story
adaptation.
of the short
Another-
story. Yeah.
Yes, another adaptation of King's short story, right? Which is weird because he directed Maximum Overdrive, and that one came out at the time when all those ones are coming out made for TV that King wanted in on. It was Stephen King's The Shining. It was remember there was like 3 or 4 in a row, the Langoliers, and there was a couple like he was involved with all those friggin' TV ones. Was he directly involved
Tommyknockers.
with Tommyknockers? What about Trucks? Was Stephen King involved with Trucks?
I don't know. All I know is that when I watched Tommyknockers, I was waiting for the tits, and they never came.
No.
That's a
It took me a second. Tommy Knockers.
This fucking guy.
Hello?
Again?
Oh!
No.
What do you know?
I can't hear the boys.
There he is!
Where are the boys?
Oh, what
This
timing too?
Fucking dude.
Guys,
What are you doing?
Shouldn't you be editing the What Z party?
I see them.
How are you, buddy?
Tyler!
Uh-oh.
going on?
He's got
You can't
issues
hear
over
us?
there.
Oh, he legitimately can't hear us. In case the listeners don't know, Mr. Watson is our guest. I was talking to him last night that we were doing The Orphanage, and I had planned on doing The Orphanage on Horror Corridor.
Sky.
Horror Corridor.
This is great.
And then you
I
cut-
keep all this in. This is awesome. Keep all that in with
Isn't
him
this
bugging out.
Mr. Producer Extraordinaire, and he can't even fucking link into the Skype?
He's been breaking a lot of his equipment lately.
Yeah, and they built their own computer over there. Skylar built a computer. And,
Out of Lego?
Hey, I couldn't even do one out of Lego.
He built a computer, but he forgot to put a port for his mic to plug in. Where do I put the mic?
I'll wave to Watson. Maybe he'll know or at least saying hello. Up and there he goes. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded
The
me
What
of.
Z party?
They can hear us.
Oh,
Fucking up the
he was
shit.
like,
Oh, no,
Skylar! It was
can
like
hear
it was
us,
like Fred
Hi, guys.
Flintstone.
How you doing?
It was like Fred
Oh, shit.
Flintstone.
Little Watt here.
Wilma!
My dad and stuff.
We can hear you, little what? Can you sub in?
I just fixed it. How you doing?
Good. How are
Hey,
you?
hey, buddy.
All right, let's go. All right. I'm gonna
So
put
we
my
know
dad
who
back
the true producer
on.
is.
Thank you,
I get it.
Skylar. Thank you, Lil Here's
Oh
your
yeah, no,
cookie.
I'm the real tech expert here.
He is.
I knew it. I knew it.
Okay, here's your cookie.
All right.
Here's your cookie.
Here's your
Is that dinner?
What's up, guys?
Hey,
Look
buddy.
at me, I'm Watson.
Oh,
Look at
awesome.
me, Mr. Watson is what you should have
Yeah.
said.
Oh, I don't have a camera anymore, so I can't see you. Skylar, shut the goddamn door. I'm just playing.
Connect the goddamn dots.
Yeah.
No, we just finished reviewing Humanoids from the Deep.
Oh, cool. How'd it go?
It went a
were
lot
all-
better than this.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes. All is well. This is great timing. We just finished a review. We were about to do some other stuff, and boom! I didn't think it was going to be Watson, so I'm totally surprised.
Oh, you had no idea?
I knew somebody was coming. I didn't know it was you,
No,
I told them
I'm
we
about
had
to
a
hang
guest.
up.
I didn't tell them who.
Christian.
Yeah.
Did you think it was him, Christian?
No, I actually did think it was Braden's dad.
I thought it was JP.
I was delighted when, but I'll say this later. But yeah, Brandon and I have some sort of history with this movie, almost. So I'll explain that when the time
Both
comes.
orphans?
Yeah, we're both orphans. And we're
Actually, we're both dead orphans.
yeah, dead orphans specifically. I'm Watson. He's Pepe.
Yeah.
Yes,
Damn
that's
it.
right.
I wanted to
Watson.
use that on the show. I'm going to.
Oh, Man, we are live on the show. Watson is here, ladies and gentlemen. The man, the myth, the legend, my co-host for Watsy Party, Mr. Horror Corridor himself, our favorite guest.
Is that show
Back
still
again.
on?
Which one?
Oh, no, that show we know. Horror Court, didn't it just, is it officially done, or do you still have to put the finishing episodes out?
There are 2 more episodes that I'm going to do. A French episode that I've written about 30 pages of notes. I can't just waste that. I have to record that shit. And then my son and I are going to do one final huge extravaganza of an episode where I show you some segments that never made the cut. I was originally going to do this segment called like where I do drunk reviews.
Cut to the chase?
Yeah, exactly. Cut to the chase. And it was going to be insane. And I'm going to intersperse things like that and then do Ghostbusters 2 and then peace out and say goodbye to that damn podcast.
We thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the deal with that, and then just focus on Watsy and then eventually YouTube. And do we got Absolute Dave tonight?
No. We got
Dark Roast Dave.
Yeah, Dark Roast Dave. Yeah.
Dark Roast Dave. Yeah, you got Whiskey Watson right now, but nothing heavy, just hot toddies. My throat's a little hoarse, so you throw in some lemon juice, some honey, hot water, and a shot of whiskey. Heat that stuff up. It's like whiskey tea. It's great. And that's not just me sneaking in whiskey wherever I can.
Nice.
It's a real drink.
It's a real drink, people.
Yeah.
Whiskey tea.
Braden's like lost for words here.
What do you
He
mean?
is.
Why am I lost for words?
You haven't said a word.
What do you want
And
me
the
to say?
listeners, thank you.
What do you want me to say?
What do you want me to say? It's Watson.
Okay.
I invited him. I knew he was coming. I'm letting him do his thing.
See, there you go. Let me segue back.
Can I just say one thing? Like he said,
Say
you know,
what you want,
he's gonna finally, you know, wrap up, you know, Ghostbusters 2 and say goodbye to Horror Corridor. I said goodbye right after episode 1.
That was better than my joke.
Dude, so did I. I said goodbye before episode 1. I'm gonna tell everybody about my whole relationship with that show and why. It's like that ex-girlfriend you keep taking back and she keeps slashing your tires. First time she does it, you're like, all right. Second time and third time, it's just like, I'm letting this happen, and that's what Horror Corridor is to me. So,
But the sex is great.
The sex is always damn good. Horror Corridor knows how to lay down Sally.
Lay down, Sally. Nice.
Rest here in my arms.
Oh, singing fools.
I'm
At least I'm not-
immediately regretting my decision.
No. Just wait, B. I got some notes. I'm gonna make you proud, buddy.
No, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward. All right, Dave, bring us back.
Bring us back. Back we are. Okay. That's how I bring us back on the fly. So listen, we have an email and we have a voicemail. Now I have to issue an apology because we got this voicemail in October. It's been a month now, and I forgot to play it. So my mistake. Luckily, he'll understand. Everything is well. It's from Eric Webster. So it came on October 6th. Today's November 10th. It's a little late, better late than never. I don't know how I misplaced it, but I was looking tonight before the show began, scouring the emails and everything else, and I said, you know what? What the hell happened? Eric, you should have said something to me. But anyway, I'm going to play this one.
Hey guys, this is Eric from Dark Discussions. I just want to send you some feedback after the latest episode where Dave told the epic saga of Lucky the Cat. It sounded like some people have been giving you a hard time about this and about you talking about it. Tell you what, man, I have always thought that you can tell a lot about a person by observing the way they treat animals and the way they treat wait staff. So if anybody's giving you a hard time about being a compassionate human being, they can piss up a rope. I think what you did is great. I'm happy for your addition to your family. And anybody who doesn't understand the bond between an owner and a pet hasn't had one. So I'm glad that all seems to be working out with Lucky the Cat. Good job, Dave. Well done. I was also very happy to hear that Christian has changed his tune on The Descent. I had a feeling that he would after he watched it again, because he generally seems to appreciate good filmmaking. I don't know if you guys ever checked out any of the supplemental materials on the disc for that movie. but can you believe that they made that whole movie without going into a single damn cave? That was all done on the soundstage. What amazing set design. Anyway, that's one of my favorites. So I'm really glad that Christian is on board now and has it on rotation for watching on a regular basis. So anyway, you guys gave me a homework assignment. I'm working on it. There'll be more on that later. And keep up the great work. Great show, guys. Thanks.
Nice.
Wow. Am I still on the show?
Just physically.
The one time I go nuts and I beat a waitress to death with a dead cat, and now he's got to call me out on the show.
Oh man.
He's right though. Those are two perfect measuring devices for measuring the character of a person: animals and wait staff.
Same damn thing.
It really is. That's all you need.
Well, maybe you're onto something. Because
he's right. He's really right. I don't trust people that I get that people are scared of animals if they've had a traumatic experience, but people who say that they hate animals, I immediately don't trust them. And then, if somebody's rude in a waiter type situation,
Waitron.
it's like
Waitron.
It's like the the new
I don't
political
know. I'm
correct
still upset that he didn't mention my name. I don't think he thinks I'm on the show.
You know what's going to happen.
He just doesn't like you.
It's going to be all about you next time, B. It really is.
Oh, no. Am I one of those guys? Do I do that all the time?
No. I'm just saying that the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Almost all the time.
It's the squeaky wheel. So even if Eric doesn't do it, somebody else will now.
And I apologize
Philip
to
will.
Dave for giving him a hard time about talking about the damn cat.
Oh, no. No, hold up now. Nobody gave me a hard time. And as I said at last show, that lots of people came out and said all kinds of great things. And I was really, really happy. I was sharing that stuff with my wife and daughter, saying, look, all kinds of people were saying nice things. And, people saying, I covered it at the last show. Enough. It's been 2 months now today since I found the cat. But anyway, I want to know who's been talking shit behind my back. Because somebody's saying shit then. Somebody is talking shit.
Gotta be Watson.
Maybe it is Watson.
He's super
never.
close with those guys.
I know. Maybe he told Eric, you know what? Dave and that fucking cat, enough is enough. What does he want? A freaking gold medal because he rescued some freaking little thing? Come on, man. Was it you, Watson?
No, I was just disappointed that you told me that you'd had sex with a waitress once, but not an animal. I was like, Dave Z, please.
Oh, Christian.
What you do to the least of these. Is that what the Bible says? Yeah, that's good stuff.
That is good stuff. But Christian,
Yes.
how about that? The descent. See? Good job. Once again.
It was great. And I said I was an idiot.
Bow your head in shame.
He's been shamed. Found footage. He's been shamed a few times. Found footage shamed him. The descent shamed him.
Life shamed him.
Oh.
He's been
Are you
shamed.
still on?
That's
Jesus Christmas.
Yeah,
Skylar, cut the fucking feed.
I didn't know that there was on they weren't really in caves at all. That's freaking incredible.
that design is amazing. I didn't know that either.
I appreciate that film even more. And I was pretty high on it, but my God. Whew. Watson, what do you think about The Descent?
Love it. I just showed that movie to my son recently. That and The Ritual is kind of a great double feature because they're very inverse movies of each other. And, with the men going out, the women going out, and we absolutely adore both films.
It's a good double
Cool,
feature. Yeah, good stuff. Well,
Christian
Eric,
prefers the men.
I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, that's fine.
I don't know.
We support him.
I don't.
So yeah, Eric, thank you. Sorry I took so long time. Just freaking give me a nudge. Hey, dude, what happened? Because we'll always play your messages. So and a quick email. Just somebody we haven't heard from in a little bit of time. Just wanted to say hello. So
I know. Better sit back for a dissertation. That's what I was thinking.
Nope, it's not. It's our friend Raphael. Nope, it's Raphael Gardo. Okay.
Oh, he wanted to write into WotC as well. So let's just talk about WotC for a bit. No, I'm kidding. Go Raphael.
This also came in like a month ago, so I'm gonna read it because it's here. Okay, hey fellas, I've been wanting to write to you guys for quite some time now. I've been crazy busy with my transition in my life, from moving from my hometown to living on my own in LA to pursue a career in film. Hey now.
Nice.
Yeah, my move has caused me to get behind on listening to new episodes, which I normally listen to in the car, since that's when I have the time to do so. But thankfully, after finally getting my new ride yesterday, I'm able to get back on board to catching up on the show. Well, I apologize to you for not reading this sooner. But I just wanted to send this message also to give personal thanks, as always, for providing wonderful film-related content that supplements my mind with the interest and appreciation for film. Your guys' podcast, for me, is a small part of my life that helps me stay in love with cinema. I need that, especially in my point in life right now. Take care, boys. Raphael G. So
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of
man.
transition, congratulations to Christian, who recently transitioned as well. He's now officially a man.
He finally has that dick.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
This dick,
And he joined the
this
show
dick.
tonight.
Oh, here
Bravo.
we go. Woo. Yes.
Bravo.
Woo. Indeed.
Indeed.
Wow.
Oh, I love Raphael. Raphael wrote to messaged me once a while ago, Dave, when we'd only had like 2 episodes of WotC, and he was like, "Can I write you guys?" And I think that's when he was starting to go through his transition. So it's awesome that he wrote you guys to let you know how he's doing. I wondered where he's been, you know?
I believe he said, "Can I write for you guys?" Because he didn't like your content.
Yeah, we could use we could use all the help we could get.
Bravo.
Amen.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Bravissimo.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah. Rock and
Watson,
roll.
you've seen the Funhouse, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Oh, well,
Oh,
there
yeah.
you go. Segway. Segway
Yeah,
City.
no, I just wanted to make sure because
No, that's B.
I didn't tell him the mini reviews we were doing, but that's the next one up. So
Oh,
And
kick
if
him
he
off.
didn't, he
He come
just have
back
to
in about
see-
20 minutes.
Yeah, or sit here and shut the fuck up. You know? One of two.
actually, you know what? Come to think of it, can you just sit there and shut the fuck up?
Here, let me mute this mic.
Yeah. Can Skylar come mute that for you?
All right, from the man, the myth, the
loathing.
legend, Mr. Tobe Hooper. 1981's The Funhouse. 4 teenage friends spend the night in a carnival funhouse and are stalked by a deformed man in a Frankenstein mask.
I think we all talked about this when we did our top 50 slasher show. I made my list. I think it made Dave's. I don't think it made Brandon's.
I feel like, you know what? I'm not sure if it made mine, but after watching it again now, it almost doesn't even feel like a slasher.
What?
He said, "It almost doesn't feel like a slasher."
Very
It
high
really
pitched.
isn't.
Oh, come on.
You're crazy.
What? There's no slashing.
Oh, so slashing makes it a slasher? Then how come you consider Maniac Cop a slasher? They're shooting guns.
It's a stalk and kill. It's a stalk and kill type slasher.
So there's not.
I don't care about the
stalking and killing?
weapon. No, there really isn't in this.
I don't know.
Ratings?
Christian. First of all, I did not make my list, and my rating has not changed. I knew that it made Christians. I thought that it made yours too, B.
It might have. I honestly don't remember.
I don't know. All I know is it did not make mine. Why?
I've never been super high on this film. I had a much better experience this time, but I still maintain that it's a borderline slasher. I mean, there's not much in the way of kill count. It's, one of the kills isn't even by the main villain, if you will. So it's kind of, I don't know, it borders for me. But, even before that, the opening credits with the music and
Great.
the images of the automatons, phenomenal.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Sets the mood right away. It's marred a little bit by the Psycho homage. I know I could have done without that. It's
What the-
fine, but it doesn't need to be there.
What, the Psycho / Halloween homage? I kind of
Right.
like that. It's
It
like
is kind of cool.
it's kind
and
of
it's
like
universal.
a double dose. Yeah.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
starts
I mean,
off, but yeah.
Yeah, Joey's a little bit of a perv. He's, he just wanted to see
Nice
what's her name?
tatas.
Amy. He just wanted to see Amy's tatas.
Yeah, he talks about them. He's kind of like the kid in, what do you call it? Well, they
Night
got
of
it
the
from
Demons.
him. The kid in, thank you, sir. Yes, Night of the Demons. The answer man over here. Thank you. Yeah, buddy. How about this? You get nudity from the final girl almost right away. How often do you see that?
Well, when you start off with basically only 2 girls in the cast,
Yeah, but still, how often do you see the final girl, number 1, get nude, number 2, get nude early? Like,
That doesn't feel like a slasher.
Oh my God.
You have a final girl chase at the end. How is that not a slasher? One of the scariest.
That's a very small chase.
Oh, but dude.
Come on, that's
the
barely
same-
a chase. And there's a lot of there's a major issue there with them looking down on that room, and then they run down the hall, and all of a sudden they're in that room. What's going on? They didn't climb down anything. How did they end up in that room?
Maybe they just didn't show him climb. I don't know. I don't recall because
I want to
but-
see climbing.
Are you
I
talking
don't
about
know,
when they
because
go
my-
into where the guy killed the hooker? Or the gypsy?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say gypsy nowadays, or is that still politically
We
incorrect?
call them gypsy hookers.
Sex worker, Christian. Come on, you should know.
Yeah, come on.
Why does his mic sound better than both of yours?
Well, it's me, dude. Come on. Fuck.
Swallowing it.
Hey, what's wrong with my mic?
I don't know,
Aw,
it doesn't sound
now
as
I'm
good as-
sad.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset too.
Jeez, Christian, look at you alienating your co-hosts.
Yeah,
I've
do
been
you
using a
two mind
$50
stop and,
mic
we'll-
for 5 years.
and Mr. Watson and I will just continue to talk?
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Oh, I didn't,
well,
I, didn't
see
know,
you guys.
I didn't know it was bedtime for the listeners. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Brad. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
We're joking.
Sorry, I meant Dave. Sorry.
Fuck you. He really meant that. That was true.
That's the thing, he did mean that. He
Yeah,
meant that.
He totally meant that.
If he says it's a joke, it's just backpedaling from this point forward.
that's okay. I wipe my ass with your feelings too. It's just fun.
Another film for me, much like Humanoids from the Deep, where there's a tremendous amount of missed opportunity for me.
Dude, I will agree with you on that because my problem every time I watch this movie is there's way too much downtime in the middle, and
Way too much downtime. They needed to increase either the size of the crowd or have, definitely increase the kill count. And they should have done something with the Joey character. I mean, he sneaks out there. You thought he was going to kind of be a hero.
Yeah, he just goes back home.
Yeah,
Petrified.
after that guy finds him and the most creepiest line in cinema, I washed him down real good.
that's what he said.
Yeah, I washed him up real good.
I know.
Like, can you imagine?
I thought the
That
same
was
thing.
scarier. That was scarier than the Frankenstein monster.
I
Yeah,
always
that
wonder
was
how he
scary.
got that mask on.
I think his pops probably put it on him. He's like,
Yeah.
"Come here, boy,"
Come here, boy. How about the father playing like 20 different characters?
Oh, he's great though, isn't he?
Oh yeah, I love that guy.
He does good in this. Man, all those carnival barkers are pretty good. They legit do. It does seem like a carnival. I'll give some props there. It does seem like a real carnival to me. All that stuff works out well.
He's in my top 3 barkers, right up there with Clive and Bob. I mean, he's right up there, right?
My first words were Bob Barker when I was 3 years old. I'm not kidding.
Really?
I couldn't
What?
talk until I was 3 years old, and I just one day my mom said you were just like Bob Barker. No joke.
Wow.
You know
Yeah.
what? It all makes sense now since you got such a. That's why you haven't shut up.
Wow. He
I'm
invited me on the
I'm
show,
sorry,
folks, and this is what.
I'm sorry.
Does anybody else wish they had a DeLorean right now?
What?
A DeLorean.
Go back in time and go back in time to prevent Brandon from inviting me
Yeah.
or
God
from
damn
joining Exploding Heads.
God damn this flux capacitor.
My God. Let me say something really quick, and then let's let Watson and Christian say something. But in the beginning, when they have all those guys and they show the animatronics and all that stuff, and they play that scary music, and it's great. Did you notice that one of them looks exactly like a fat Pee Wee Herman,
Yes.
or possibly a fat Tom Hanks from like Big Era?
Or possibly.
I believe in the credits he was credited as Fat Tom Hanks.
He's dressed like Pee Wee Herman to a T, and he looks like him, but he also kind of looks like Tom Hanks.
I thought Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
Like, now that you're saying Tom Hanks, it sounds really funny.
Trying to use the phone.
I'm telling you.
Hunks.
I'm gonna hold up his picture.
No,
Anyway.
it looked exactly like Pee Wee Herman.
I took a picture and I showed it to my brother as I was watching it, just to see if he would say, "Hey, Pee Wee Herman," and he came back at me and said, "Tom Hanks." But hold on, I'll show you that later while you guys talk. Christian, no, how about this? Watson hasn't said a word about this movie. What do you think? We don't know anything about your. We know Christian, I think, likes it the most. Watson, what's your take on the Funhouse?
It has themes and motifs and subtext and atmospheres. 6.5 out of 10.
Oh,
You know what? I will actually counter argue, even though that was a good joke.
Thanks.
I like the movie. It's enjoyable, but it's fairly one note. I mean, I don't think there's any hidden context. I mean, it's literally these kids get trapped in there, witness something, and they get stalked and killed. So I do think it's a slasher.
And that note is a suicide note.
okay. Can you guys see that?
The contrast is a little off, but yeah, I can get it. It looks like Pee Wee Herman sitting with a Brandon
I really
white
think
face.
I really think he's just showing a picture of Pee Wee Herman right now.
Oh, wait, that wasn't a picture of Pee Wee Herman?
That's Amanda Carino.
That is from the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Wow.
A little
It
like
was
Tom
like-
Hanks, though,
like
too, no?
Chinese Pee Wee.
But look at his clothes. He's definitely dressed just like Pee Wee Herman. You know?
That's awesome.
Yeah. God is watching you, as that girl says. What's her name? Is that the one that says that?
The crazy. That's the crazy lady, and
Yeah.
just walking around. That's like the homeless lady.
Yeah.
How about the
God
boy-
is watching you.
How about the fortune teller when she snaps? I'll break every fucking bone in your body.
She breaks character for that one scene.
I love it.
Just
though.
for a second. Oh, it's great. But then later on, when she's talking to what's his name? What's his name too? He's got a name, you know. I got a name.
Croce?
Croce.
Not Jim Croce. The Frankenstein monster. Gunther. Gunther is his name, or he's been labeled Gunther by people over the years. Anyway, Gunther, when she's hanging out with him, about to do some dirty stuff with him, she has the accent. When we know the accent is a put on because she breaks it when she yells at them. All of a sudden, she's on the.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's a
But she's
kink.
still-
Maybe he likes that. He only wants a hand job with the accent.
That's true. Maybe it's exotic to him. Maybe that's
Role play. Yeah.
Okay,
Was he
yeah,
supposed to? Were they gonna fuck, or do you think it was just gonna be a hand job that he ended up shooting off too quick? He Brandon Orlicked out.
Wow, that's quite the verb. Brandon
No,
Orlick.
I think it was gonna be the full treatment. He just got a little excited.
Blew it.
He doesn't know the value of a dollar. Yeah, he blew it.
She should have refunded him half. That
Yeah,
would've-
she should have. She should have ripped it in half and thrown the other half in his face. Here's your fucking half. I'll break
that's-
every fucking bone in your body.
Does his
then
face
walk out.
creep you out, Dave?
Yeah, man. Of course, everything about him creeps me out. Of
I see.
course.
He doesn't creep me out. Like he seems
What?
like he seems
You want to
nice.
get chased by that thing?
I don't want to get chased. I would have been nice to him. He
Why are you
looks
so
like he'd be cool to
high-pitched?
hang out with. I don't know.
He wasn't cool to
Watching
anybody.
on the show makes me high pitched.
He wasn't cool to anybody, man. He was freaking scary. And that final chase that you shit on, that to me is the best part of this film. That's the scariest part of this
Final
film.
chase is fairly weak.
Are you kidding me? When that ladder drops, all of a sudden she's there, and all of a sudden that ladder just drops down, and then she screams, and he comes down. Are you freaking? And then they run in that room, and she boards it up, and then he comes in there, and now once but twice later, oh dude, and he screams right in her face for no reason. Ah! I'm like, oh my god, that's freaking horrifying. And then at the end, when he's going around that thing, on those hooks, and again you think maybe he's dead, and then he pops up and he screams again right at her. Oh dude. It's bad enough he looks like it. He's gonna scream right at you.
Every time I see that, I'm like, man, I gotta go pick up my dry cleaning.
Oh my! I'm with Dave. That's the saving grace of this movie. It's
Yep.
scary. It's got scary moments. Like I said earlier, though, the downfall is it's fairly one note, but it makes up for it in the atmosphere and the scare department. So based on the fact,
Okay,
I'm forgiving of it. Sorry,
no,
Brandon, go ahead.
the mistake here with the lack of scare for me is that they reveal his face too early. Maybe in the final chase, like you're saying, Dave, with the screams and all that, it would have been scarier if that was the first time you saw his face and he was wearing the Frankenstein mask the whole time versus them seeing it very early on. That's it for me.
I could see it like a Jason, like that moment at the
Yeah.
end when the mask comes off and how
The
dramatic.
screaming, like, I will give you that. The screaming is awesome. I wish he had done more screaming. I wish you had heard more screaming in the hallways when they're trying to get away from him.
Like
You
bad.
know,
it
it's not a bad movie. I really don't hate it by any means. I just like with that opening with the credits and just the settings and the set pieces and even the performances are good. You know, I got nothing against this group of teenagers. I just felt like, I don't know, it could have been so much bigger.
I have a feeling your ratings are all going to be fairly similar.
They always are. Almost.
They
always are.
probably will be. I'm not a super low rater when it comes to films that I don't enjoy, especially if I recognize that it's not a bad film by any means. It's just missed its opportunity for me.
I'm with you on The Mask, though. That would be a really good story beat if it had played out that way. I like that. Yeah. You're welcome,
I'm
B.
with you.
I love you.
I love you too.
All right, lovers. Do you guys think they set up that skeleton to jump? Remember that part when that skeleton comes up and they all jump in the You think that they set that up to happen, or just it was coincidence? You guys remember that part or no? See, certain things stick out to me, and that skeleton thing that comes from below was cool. And when the random shit just goes off in the funhouse, even after it's closed, that stuff is kind of scary.
Yeah, what do you mean?
know what
Do
I
you
mean?
think they didn't tell the actors that it was going to happen to try to scare them? I don't know what you're
No,
getting at.
no. When that skeleton jumps up, do you think that freaking Dad and Gunther freaking did that intentionally?
Was that after they stole the money and had been exposed?
And boy, what a stupid! If that kid doesn't steal the money for no fucking reason, none of that.
None of that happens. Yeah.
How
That's
stupid.
a lot of money, man. They thought they were going to walk through that door. They just didn't realize they weren't going to. That's not what was going to happen.
What a dick! Why would you do that to these poor people that make a living freaking traveling around different carnivals and doing their thing, and you're gonna steal what little money they have? What
Yes.
a dick! I wish he would have. He died good.
There was a little bit of depth to the Gunther character too, because you see even when he attacks what's the other girl's name? Liz.
I don't know, but Liz screwed up because she offered him her body. And all she had to do was give it to him, and she could have survived, or at least been a distraction for the others.
Yeah,
she had to turn on him. That was dumb.
But that's very symbolic of and the way he reacts is very symbolic of the way the father treated him, because he slaps her the way he slapped him earlier in the film.
Oh, wow.
Why didn't
Cycles
that,
of violence.
Why didn't that stop him though? Like she stabs him right into the like practically right
Because
through.
because he was gentle even with the gypsy woman, fortune teller. Sorry, he was gentle with her until the point where she was mean and abusive and was hurting him in a sense.
I'm saying why didn't kill him? Like that, I mean, I know it's a horror
Right.
film and he's a killer. Like that was some penetration.
What are you saying? Why didn't Liz kill him?
When she stabs him in the
Okay.
back,
On it.
it's like
She does.
yeah.
Well, no, Christian is saying, why did it have such a strong effect on him, that little thing that she did? Right? That's what you're saying?
No, I said I think it should have had more of an effect on him.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Why did it have such a little effect
Oh,
on
little.
him?
Sorry,
Right.
excuse me.
Wait, I'm confused. I'm sorry. I am
We could
so
tell.
lost.
She stabs him
Apparently.
in the back, and they barely
Yes.
just makes him mad. But like she really did jab that down into him.
It makes him mad because I think he was approaching her in a gentle manner. I don't think he was gonna hurt her.
Okay.
He wasn't gonna hurt. He
You are
wasn't gonna hurt
I
her.
think he was going to make love to her.
They were gonna make love.
Maybe.
I think that's the whole point. Is he's actually not really such a monster, even though he looks like a monster, very much like freaks, where the actual.
that
freaks
should have taken
are-
him down, is what I'm saying. The stabbing should have actually brought him down, and it does nothing.
No, because he's still deformed and abused. He's he's been abused his whole life. His father's a bastard.
Also, he's built up a tolerance to being stabbed through the back.
Oh, but Michael Myers was just a kid who grew up and got shot 6 times in the fucking head, but that's okay. Fucking
Yeah, I mean,
Halloween
come on, look at-
boys here.
Jason Voorhees got up after having a machete through his shoulder and grew a foot and lost his hair in the next movie.
I don't know. Yeah, because he wasn't on the Rogaine. I don't know why I attacked Halloween so bad. I don't know why anytime somebody questions something, I immediately attack Michael Myers. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, Brandon, like your girl or something's like, Brandon, you're inadequate in bed, and you're like, you know what? Well, Michael Myers is a son of a bitch.
Michael Myers eats dogs. Fuck you. Get out of my house.
Hey, give him his strength. Don't let him fool you. Okay. One thing that I found great in this movie, and I've mentioned it a few times for other movies, and when it's done, it works. It's a great thing that you see in horror, and it's that scene when the girl sees her family, and she's on the
Yes.
fan. They can't
The
hear her.
fan,
And
yep.
she's reaching out, trying to call them, and they can't hear her. Oh, That alone, that scene and the freaking final chase are the best parts of this movie, along with, like I said, the atmosphere. Because the atmosphere does.
The atmosphere is so good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it
but there
makes the
should
movie.
It does.
It does. But there should have been more. This movie, I don't know, with Hooper directing, having this setup in a funhouse and all that stuff you could play with, and a deformed killer in freaking 1980 or whatever, 81, going out. This movie could have been like, it should have been better. It really, that's the way I look at it. Is it
this could be a top 10. This could be a top 10 slasher film.
It could be
I'll
up
even
there.
say that. It would be a slasher film if there were just more kills. And I get it. It is a slasher, but it borders for me. It just almost doesn't feel like it because there's just so much downtime. And really, the kills aren't so much of the focus. I mean, do any of the kills really stand out for you?
Well, the axe. Remember when he gets the axe in the head, and then he comes back later on the freaking
that's
the hanging
cool.
noose. When the noose comes
great.
down and they pull him up.
Yeah, the noose is what kills him. He's already dead when he takes the axe. But that's it's almost like the second kill is better than the first kill.
Yeah, but there was good stuff there. Just damn it, just not enough.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't it have been awesome if even got out of the funhouse and went to other areas because they showed the animal sideshow. There could have been some and kills in there. I mean, they talked about there's brother on display in there.
They
in the jar.
did.
There was a lot of story set up there that could have been used to make this film even bigger. But I'm sure it was budgetary constraints and shit like that too.
Maybe it's Tobe Hooper with a formula because in Texas Chainsaw, because in Texas Chainsaw Massacre he had two couples and that was it. Well, he had Franklin too, but I guess Gunther's the Franklin in this one, in a manner of speaking. Because remember he was a victim too. You know what I mean? Yes, he became a killer, but he was ridiculed and he had a handicap. So I'm saying maybe he's like, well, I did this to the Texas Chainsaw. I only had 4 people, but I had what I had with Texas Chainsaw. I had interesting killers and a family dynamic. And it seems like he kind of did that a little bit again here. He had a family.
Yeah. Dave, I completely agree with that. I was actually thinking about the Tobe Hooper formula, or Tobe Hooper, however some people say it. Shout out to Jeremy. No, I love him. But yeah, what you're talking about Hooper's formula, you look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you look at, like, say, something like Eaten Alive, you look at this, and they borderline on that slasher, and this one less so than those other two, but it's like you could make a case for it if you wanted to, but they don't quite fit. And I just think his template doesn't maybe neatly fit into the template of the slasher, especially as it was taking off there. And what is this, 80, 81?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're now experiencing slashers in full force now, and yeah, it's just crazy. And I just don't know if what he's doing like fits neatly into it. I think it does fit to a degree, sort of like a Venn diagram in a way, but maybe not as neatly. So Brandon, I see what you're saying, and Dave, good observation about Hooper's formula. I think that makes sense to me intellectually. I dig it, man.
Thanks. It just occurred to me now. I was like, you know what? Maybe that's what it is. Because
and all 3 of those films, even Eaten Alive, they capture like this really, really cool atmosphere.
Oh, I love Eaten Alive.
Yeah, me too. A lot of his films, come to think of it. So.
You know, I've said this before on another show, on a guest appearance, and it bears repeating. I don't know. This movie is tailor-made for a remake, but not just a remake by anybody. The perfect person to remake this movie, and I can't believe he hasn't watched this and said, I should do this, because this is up my alley. Thank you, sir. Rob Zombie. 100%. His visual style, his background with Carnies, the way he has, I could see him. Rob Zombie should have 100% have made this movie instead of
Carney? Circus folk? Small fingers?
All of it, buddy. All of it. Rob Zombie.
Small hands. Sorry.
Just imagine what he could have done with this movie. Just think about a modern day Funhouse.
He still can. That's a good call. Yeah, this definitely could use would benefit from a remake. I
don't think it could go wrong. Seriously, with that setting, with Rob Zombie bringing what he brings, his visual style and the music and everything else, and he had those ridiculous characters. You know what I mean? Man.
I agree, man. Yep.
But they still have to have this sort of underlying character development. I mean, it's not overdone here, but there's substance to each of these characters. And I feel like with Rob Zombie, if we're talking about him doing it, he just seems to make all his characters completely straight-laced. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but he's got to become more nuanced if you want to remake a film like this. Because that's one thing I appreciate with this, which is very weird for somebody to say. I mean, people are probably like, "The fuck is he fucking Funhouse? Just watch it." But there's some nuances and subtlety to these characters that I appreciate.
Listen, I don't think Rob Zombie can make a proper Final Girl. I don't think he can write it.
I agree.
And I think that would be the problem. Like what he did with Halloween 2 was okay. They tried to make Laurie sympathetic, but she was batshit crazy the whole time too. Obviously, you can't give him any credit for Halloween because that's John Carpenter's ideas and that's a character, and he didn't even write her right. I just don't think that Rob Zombie is capable of writing a normal, teenage girl or young woman to be sympathetic. So that would be the problem. And many people have said that about Rob Zombie. They'd love to see him direct someone else's writing, but that's not going to happen. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This Funhouse here. Do we have anything else to add before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. I think we've said it all because really there's not much to say. The atmosphere and the monster's creepy. I dig the look, the drool.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so gross.
Yeah, the kills are not overly explicit, but they're effective, and yeah, it's a fun ride. It's not great territory, but I really enjoy it. I was at a 7.5 on the when I did it for the slasher film or for the slasher episodes, excuse me, and it was my number 38, and I feel like I will stick with that rating.
Wow, nice. Well, my rating has not changed in the last 3 or 4 times I've watched it. I enjoy it, but for me it's more of what could have been. But it does have its strong points that I pointed out that I happen to like. But it's just very dull in the second half, and there's just something lacking there. And I always check out. But ultimately, it's a 6.5 for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. 6.5. What could have been?
Part-time.
What could have been?
3 6.5s. That's pretty badass, guys.
Wow.
Christian, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of slightly above average.
And that's why I've got the listeners' respect.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
as a listener,
Trust me, I do. Listeners, weigh in.
Now, is it true? Did Dean
respect.
Koontz do a novelization of this?
Yes, he did.
Did anyone read it?
No. I think the novel was before the movie.
I did not know that. I've read it. I
could be wrong.
I could have. Now I'm all confused. I don't know where I read this. Why am I making this up?
No, there is definitely a book of the Funhouse, and I'm pretty sure it was Dean Koontz, and I think you're right about that. Was this movie based on it? Maybe not. Maybe I'm.
It is a novelization. Yeah.
It actually came. It says 1980 for the novelization, so that would be for the movie.
But it doesn't say based on the novel by Dean Koontz.
Which was made into. There was the Larry Block screenplay. It says here, The Funhouse is a 1980 novelization by American author Dean Koontz, who I think Odd Thomas is one of the best books ever, based on a Larry Block screenplay, which was made into the 81 film The Funhouse, directed by Tobe Hooper.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Indeed. So they came out simultaneously, maybe.
Yeah, or so that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that this was a Dean Koontz property. He's an author. I know we're in the Stephen King renaissance, and I love King, and I'll never say a bad word about him. But Koontz has a lot of great scripts that would make fantastic movies, but he's just an untapped well there. It's because people want to compare him to King, but they're not alike really at all, honestly, if you read them both. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. I did not know this was a novelization or based an adaptation. I guess that's crazy. Wow.
Nice digging, B. There you go. Funhouse.
Got B.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is the official last time. Well, maybe we'll bring it back, but for quite a while, Triple R's. And now we are going to return to Triple R's old school style.
Oh, and this just in. Next week, we'll be bringing back the Triple R's.
No. I'm
sorry. You just said goodbye to him. I just wanted to announce that we're bringing them back.
Ain't going to happen. Thanks for all the Triple R's, boys and girls.
Triple R's are going away?
Well, they're going away as a Patreon request.
Gotcha.
It's only going to be a feature or a trilogy that the ones that we've picked, and we're talking about maybe doing double features, but one step at a time, people. One step.
I love it.
So We shall see. But I think we should probably take a break really quick, and on the flips, we'll bring back the trips. We are back, and we are going to come around with old school RRRs making their return. We're just going to talk about some movies that we've seen, each taking our turn, round robin style, as it initially was, and as it's going to be again. So I believe we each have 3. Watson, I don't know about you because you were the big surprise. I think we got some movies to talk about. So who wants to go first?
Well, we brought up Trick earlier. Why don't we get into it? So
yeah, let's get that out.
Trick 2019. Here's the stupid synopsis. A no-nonsense detective tries to track down a mass murderer named Trick, who is terrorizing a small town. It's directed by Patrick, I'd say Lussier, but I don't know if that's... I've heard other people pronounce it differently, but Canadian guy. He did My Bloody Valentine, the remake, editor on a few Wes Craven movies. I was expecting to enjoy this quite a bit, and it really let me down. And in fact, I already threw my rating out on Facebook when someone else was talking about it, saying how they enjoyed it, and it was really fun, and giving it a 7.5 out of 10. And I was like, wow, I can't comprehend that, because I thought it was really messy, very quickly, shoddily filmed. The editing was frantic. The pace is frantic, but not. There's no lucid. It's really lucid. There's no connection to any scenes. And it's funny, when Moods reviewed this on Bloody Bits, everything he complained about, but didn't really say it affected his rating, is exactly what affects my rating for this movie, because I just couldn't get into the film. Every move they did is from a filmmaking standpoint just took me out of the movie. So there's a couple of cool little bits. So the killer's name is Patrick. So there's where the trick comes from. It takes place on Halloween. He's a mass killer. He goes apeshit at a party, but there's no enjoyment there, because when he goes apeshit, it's just a bunch of fast kills, and you can't really focus on anything. So although you really want to enjoy it because of the craziness that you're seeing, you just can't enjoy it because of the way they present it to you. And then you snap forward, so this takes place, I think, a few Halloweens back, and then each year there's another mass killing by someone that is emulating Trick, but wearing a different mask. And then we cut to 2019. I thought the performances all around were pretty weak, save for Tommy motherfucking Atkins. He was decent enough, but one of the funniest parts was I think Trick was going to attack people coming out of a rave or a dance, and there was no money to this movie, and you could tell because they shot it where you'd hear the music and you'd see lights thumping, and there's 2 people in the bottom left portion of the screen dancing, nobody else. They couldn't even they didn't even have anybody at the dance, and then that was I was like, wow, this is really bad. All around, just missed opportunities left, right, and center. I couldn't connect to anything. A 4 out of 10 for me.
Wow.
Anybody else see that? I didn't, as I said earlier, but
I didn't, but that's such. I mean, because I know what you're talking about. The review that Moods and Derek did. I think Derek was at an 8. I think, and
well, he said there was an entertainment rating, and I'll give him that. I'm not shitting on their review, because I actually listened to the review after I heard it, but listened to the review after I watched it. Excuse me, the film.
Yeah, but if you're still giving it a 4 out of 10, the entertainment value couldn't have been that high. I mean, you're not going to jump. There's a lot of carnage. There's a lot of kills. It's just the presentation is so off-putting that I can't connect to anything.
So see, it seems like you noticed a lot of the filmmaking mistakes or decisions, rather, that were employed in the film that you didn't enjoy. And I will say this, when I saw the movie, I didn't notice those as much, and your keen eye, I hate to compliment you, but you would notice that because you have that sense. And so that's the last compliment you get there. That's but fine. No,
it's called nonsense.
It's called nonsense. Yeah, no, but I did enjoy certain story beats of the film. Like I think, Christian, you might have even said, maybe online, or someone else did, maybe it was Moods or Derek's review, but somebody had pointed out the mechanism of the killer Trick himself, that, okay, is this guy a man? Is he a force of nature? Is it supernatural? What direction or in what direction is this going? And I rather liked that plot point. However, I do feel like if I were to see this again, I might see the things you did from a filmmaking standpoint that didn't hit me this time because you mentioned it. And that stuff typically does stand out to me. I guess I missed it this time. Good old whiskey and being deep in my cups. But I do think that I think you're onto something. I am higher than you are on that. I think I'm at a 6.5 on it. I did enjoy it. I thought it was cool, but not terribly great. It felt more like a police procedural, and I know a lot of people are saying that. It does feel more police procedural oriented rather than slasher oriented. So Dave, if you're jonesing for a slasher, Brent B, if you are too, this won't deliver that for you necessarily, despite the sheer amount of kills you really do get. So yeah, I see what you're saying.
I'm jonesing for a police procedure.
No, I want them to see it now because I want to. Just nothing. I want to like these movies. Like I don't go in going, I can't wait to tear this one a new one. I want to enjoy them. That's why I'm putting them on. I was really looking forward to this, just seeing the talent that was involved. Jamie Kennedy seemed totally miscast. And when he comes on the screen, I'm like, what happened to you, buddy? I know everybody
he played
ages.
himself in the movie.
No,
remember I told you about that?
No.
Remember I told you that he looked older than what's his name? Remember we made a joke, or I made a joke, or you guys made a joke of what I said when I was talking about Tremors, how he was in Tremors, and who the hell was he with? Burt Gummer, what's his name? Michael Gross. And I said, I don't know. He looked like he was as old as Michael Gross or something like that.
True.
Wow.
He's not looking good.
He looked gross.
Omer Epps was decent enough based on what he had what he had to do with. The twist was okay. I liked that. They tried to put something. They tried to do something else out there. Just wasn't enough. Like, it's funny because the way I talk, maybe it seems like it should have edged over above average, but no. I was really trying to pull any positives out of it. I just couldn't. I was not enjoying it. I almost did turn it off.
Is this a triple R or is this a feature?
It's so funny because on the break, I said I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk that much about these movies, and I got on 5 minutes about it. So kudos to you, Brandon. You fucking.
I'm sorry. I have a question for all three of you because you all are pretty successful with women. How do I get a girl to give me a Burt Gummer?
So first of all, don't be yourself, be me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I got.
And I'm going to answer with the name of the movie that we were discussing. Trick.
Trick.
Yeah.
You gotta
I trick her into giving me the old Burt Gummer.
Put your money down, B.
I'll tell you right now, B. I suggest shaving your whole face off.
I was about to say.
Then sticking it in salt water.
Ow!
Oh, wow.
That was an odd observation. I mean, I don't even know why I said that.
These are all callbacks. These are all. I was going to call you Dustin.
Well, you know what it was? He was like, in the ocean. So he was still alive. So it just felt like it was probably the salt water hitting that really giant open wound on his head.
It's gotta hurt. You're right. It's got to hurt.
All right, I guess I'll go next since I just pulled up a page for the first film I want to just quickly talk about. I'm going to keep them short because I feel like with the films I'm going to talk about, the less you know, the better, at least from my point of view. And it's a new film that came out this year called Starfish.
Aha! I can add on to this one. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I'll read the description. Good. A unique, intimate portrayal of a girl grieving for the loss of her best friend, which just so happens to take place on the day the world ends. And this is from a first-time feature-length director, A.T. White. And the lead girl in this, Virginia Gardner, her best friend has just died, and she's grieving, and she basically goes and stays in her apartment. And through the grieving process, all of a sudden the world starts to end, and it has to do with this audio signal. And it gets very sci-fi and very surreal. And if I had to compare the feel of this film, it almost feels like a Moorhead and Benson film, who did like Endless or Resolution.
Okay.
It has a feel like that where you're not quite sure what's going on, but you're intrigued. And it's just a deep, rich character study. It's got a great soundtrack. The effects, some of the creature effects are a little too CG for me, but it's got a cool animated scene in there. It's really a unique style filmmaking, and ultimately, I like the way it develops, and I like the way it plays out. It leaves a lot open for interpretation, but I think it gives you enough where you're not frustrated by that.
It's definitely thought provoking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's this to me definitely is a character study. I know I use that a lot, but with everything that's going on, with it being with with this being sci-fi horror drama, all the horror and the sci-fi going on, I took as more metaphorical.
Really?
Yeah. I took a lot of what was going on as being metaphorical.
So you think that the one girl is crazy and this girl's crazy too? That'd be the only way it could be metaphorical. They just both happen to be wackadoos and one's buying into the other's thing, but then the other person's in on it, so I don't know.
Is it sexual? Because Starfish is
no, it's not sexual at all. I wish it was. You know who the girl is?
The babysitter from Halloween 2018. She is gorgeous.
Boy, she's something. Yes, yeah.
Did the moments of CGI bring you out of the film at all? Because there were some CGI moments that were like, wow.
The creatures were very...
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, really? I've heard people say that. You guys have said it. Jason has said it. It didn't turn me off that much, but I'll tell you what. The one important one, the one that is really cool, looked pretty good to me. And
the big thing? Oh, yes. That was awesome. That was great.
The big thing almost reminded me of like the film
The Mist.
Not only The Mist, but Monsters. Remember that film Monsters?
I never saw it.
Oh, that's a great film. And also like very Lovecraftian, like that film last year had the creature with the tentacles in the sky. What was that?
At the very end. Yeah. The babysitter. Oh, damn it. Hold on. What was it? Housewife,
yes. That was.
I never saw that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, good film.
Yes. Definitely Lovecraftian stuff, and that whole, tiding in with the hidden tapes. You know what that stuff reminded me of? A little bit of Breaking a Code, kind of like Pontypool in a way, a different take on it. But
I actually found this one even more confusing than Pontypool at times.
Definitely.
I mean, this one definitely requires multiple watches, but for a one-time view, I was actually fairly high on it. I'd go.
Now, don't give your rate.
No, a half head explosion.
Okay.
Half head explosion on this one, and a strong recommend for sure.
And I'm also on that same thing. I give it a half head as well. I quite enjoyed it.
I also give it that.
All right, nice. So that means C. You might want to see it. I don't know.
Pass.
Okay. Pass. The hard pass.
The loathing.
I'll watch Trick again.
You like that?
Yeah.
Trick.
You worked it
okay, I'm catching up. I'm doing pretty good. I have 32 in now for the year 2019. I'm making a run at least 52. So I've come around. I'm going to talk about my last 3 that I watched, one at a time, of course, but that because I remember them all. I'm not going to sit here and just ramble them off. But these are the last 3 I watched, and I will tell you right now, all 3 of them are full head explosions for me. So that's a good thing.
Trick.
And I'm going to talk about them because they're the freshest in my memory. Although like B said, I don't want to give too much away, so I'll be brief. But One Cut of the Dead. And honestly, to say much about it does kind of give everything away. I can tell you this.
You really can't say. You almost shouldn't say anything about that film.
You know what?
I agree.
Maybe I won't.
How many
scenes
is it? How many cuts are there?
One.
I'll tell you what.
Those are the caliber of joke.
One cut of the dead. Fuck.
That aspect is phenomenal, though. The whole One Cut of the Dead and what happens in the beginning and where. I can't say. You're right. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to use that.
Dave, let me ask you a question about this film. Did your daughter get to see this with you at all?
She did.
Did she enjoy it a lot?
You know what? I haven't asked her since, but she was watching it in the beginning, and she was pointing out all kinds of flaws with it. And she's like, well, why did this happen? Well, why did this happen?
Right.
And I'm watching it, just kind of trying to go with it. And I'm saying, number one, Frankie, I said,
shut up,
something.
No, shut up.
Something is going to happen. No,
Yeah.
I told her something is going because people are talking about this film. There's going to be a shift in something. This is not just going to be the movie the way you're seeing it now. So this is going to lead us to something else. So
And it does. Yeah.
yes, but she was very. You know what she was calling it as she was watching it? This is funny to come out of someone's mouth her age, but she was like, "This looks like a high school film project." That's what she said.
It's funny she says that because the first 10 minutes of this film, I'm literally like, what the fuck? I hate this. Why are people raving this?
Right.
But what it becomes, what it turns into, is honestly one of the most brilliant piece of filmmaking I've seen in a long time.
I will just give my hand right away. It's a 10 for me. And I don't say that lightly. My son and I had an absolute blast watching this. I got emotional at the end. I'm on the other side of the couch, and he, there's a poignant scene between a father and daughter, and I'm on the other side of the couch looking away, and he's like, "Dad, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Nothing, it's good. I'm not getting emotional or anything." He's like, "Look over here." And I'm like, "There are no tears in my eyes. I'm not even looking over there though. I'm not looking over there though." And then so he's like, "Hey, Dad, it's okay. I know you have emotions sometimes." And I'm just like, "Thanks, bud." Like, this movie is so poignant and works on so many levels to deliver to. If I don't think, well, I almost said what genre I think it is, but I'm not going to do that because that could be a spoiler. What I will say is this is the delight of the year for me. I don't think it'll be on my lists, but it should be mentioned because it's such a great piece of filmmaking. I hope.
Sorry for cutting you off there. Why, if it's the light of the year for you, why wouldn't it be on your list?
Because
I can't
genre?
say. I can't
Because of genre classification. Let me jump in and say one thing.
Wow, what a pansy.
Well, hold on. Let me say something. I know what he's going to say or what he's thinking, and I was actually thinking it too. Although the first act, also known as I'm going to call the one cut, is solidly has its feet planted where you want it to be planted as far as genre classifications. The rest, maybe not. However, the only people that I could see sitting down and watching this movie and loving it are horror fans. So for that reason alone, I'm telling you, I cannot have one of my straight friends who doesn't watch horror say, "Hey."
So not C or B.
Nope, definitely not. I think about it. Could you call one of your friends that isn't a horror fan and say, "Watch this movie," and think that they're going to appreciate it?
Dave, I completely agree with you on that, and that's why I'm sort of like going kind of back and forth with my list, because this is a movie made for horror fans, and specifically for horror fans that are interested in the things that go into the films you enjoy. For that reason, I will have it on my list with like an asterisk, here it is here. I'm not ranking it, but here's the ranking. And it's in there. So Dave, good observation, man.
Thank you. See, that helped with me. I was like, who else would watch this? I could not go to a party and say, "Hey, I just saw this really good film the other day, One Cut of the Dead," and tell, or I couldn't go to work and say and tell people to watch it just because it's not going to interest them. They're not horror fans. So if in my opinion it's only going to interest horror fans, well, that's enough for me to put it in the umbrella.
Hold on 1 second, Dave. I jokingly muted Mr. Watson, and I think I can't unmute him. So, Mr. Watson, you're going to have to unmute your mic. I'm sorry.
Can I do it?
No.
Wow. How long have I been muted?
No. We heard
long
everything.
Enough.
Yeah.
What?
The loathing. The loathing.
We missed your review of One Cut of the Dead.
The abuse. B told me, "You can come on the show whenever you want." Dave has said this to me. This is my last appearance on Exploding Heads.
You're welcome, listeners.
I've been saying that for 90 episodes, Watson.
No, you have. No, that's awesome. See, that made my night, dude.
I'm sorry, no, but you weren't muted for any of your review part. It was that right after, because Brandon told me you could do that, and I did it. I'm like, oh shit, I can't unmute him now, so I had to let the cat out of the bag, or I would have felt horrible.
Dude, it used to be just a Skype like trick we would play on each other. We'd be on Skype, we'd be drinking, and literally we would just all be muting each other the whole night. And sometimes you mute somebody while they're in the middle of talking, and you just watch them talk for like 10 minutes before they realize they were on mute. It always happened. We just started doing that. It was really fun.
Well, in any case, Dave Z, you and my son agree that this should be like on horror people's list because this is a movie for horror films or for it's a film for horror films. It's a film for horror fans. And, you know, I guess if the whole value proposition of our shows is we're talking horror content for horror fans to listen to, then yeah, why wouldn't you have something that is for horror fans on your list? That's a great argument.
Voila. See, I'm here to help, buddy.
That's exactly what I said.
Mr.
That said, it's
Watson,
not making my list, but you know, no.
do you have a triple R
said.
that you want to add? Oh, sorry, Dave. Were you still going?
No, I'm done. I was
Chris
joking.
is like,
Actually,
Chris
what
is like,
about
wrap this
ratings,
fucking
guys?
shit up.
What
Full
about
head,
ratings?
full head explosion.
Rabies.
Dave said full head. I'm full head.
Okay.
You're clearly full head.
Yeah.
Christian, you haven't seen it yet?
I've saved. There's like 5 movies I'm saving.
Pass.
No, this was one of them. I
Pass.
couldn't wait to see it. So this is very exciting that you guys have all kind of got the shared rating. I can't wait now.
I think you're gonna love it. I think
I
you'll
know.
love it.
I think I know I'm going to, but this is making me even more excited.
Yeah.
You will
see-
like it because of the
Yeah.
filmmaking
Yep.
aspects of
Yeah,
it. Just like, right, 100%. Just I was going to say this before. When Christian doesn't like a movie, because it's what Watson was questioning Christian about earlier, saying something about you're really only focusing on the filmmaking aspects. What I'm going to say is this. When Christian really doesn't like a movie and then sees bad filmmaking aspects as well, that's when he pours it on. Because from an entertainment value, he sees shit, and then when he sees filmmaking values being shit, that's when he pours it on. And that's what he did in that when he was talking about that movie. Now, I'm going to flip it. When he watches this movie, One Cut of the Dead, and looks and gets a hold of that stuff, he will appreciate that stuff as well. So who knows? You might end up being your movie of the year. I don't know.
And it's
Yeah.
and it says
Dave,
it-
you're right. Yeah.
and I've always been like, who am I? I'm just that's my opinion, no differently than anybody else will have their opinion. So take it for what it is. But yeah, and I will also further that argument that I could actually be very light on story, as if there's an emotional attachment, and the movie takes me in from an emotional element and through the filmmaking, that could elevate my rating. Because it's all about emotion. That's a movie's supposed to show you things more than tell you things. That's how I always look at it. Now, if it's a
Should we
combination
tell
of
Christian
everything,
he's on mute?
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Nice.
Oh man.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
fine.
It had to be done in the middle of you talking.
I
for it to
know it
come
did.
off. It's not that thing.
Yeah. Thank you.
great.
You know, to be honest, I never knew opinions could be wrong until I met Christian.
Oh man.
I do want to say something while it's on the top of my head. I watched this on Shudder. Okay, One Cut of the Dead. Now, I don't know if it's only going to affect one person listening, but if I've done that for somebody, then that's good enough for me. I haven't been able to watch Shudder the way I've wanted to in quite a long time. I used to have it on Amazon. When I realized that it wasn't the right Shudder, and the interface was not good, and the selection wasn't the same, and you couldn't watch anything live, and there was many other things that I learned was wrong with it. I canceled. It's been 2 years since I canceled the Shudder that goes through the Prime app. So I began Chromecasting from my computer to the television, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but I've yearned for an app. It's just easier to do that with navigation and everything else. Well, I discovered about 3 weeks ago that because I have a Sony Smart TV, they're Android televisions. So if you have Google Play on that, you can now put the app. You can purchase, not purchase. You can get the Shudder app through Google Play and have it right as an app on your Sony TV. So for anybody that has a Sony TV and doesn't have any other way, to get the app, now you can do it right on your television. So I want to pass it on to somebody because it's made a big difference to me. And I've been watching a hell of a lot of Shudder. Yeah. I was trying to. I got fed up one day because I was trying to stream it with the Chromecast, and something was going on my computer, and it froze up a couple times. And oh no, that's not what happened. I was trying to log onto my account, and it kept saying that I wasn't a member. And then I would put my stuff in, and I would go in, and it says thank you, and then it would say you're not a member, but log in.
Loins in, everyone.
Log in to do the free membership for a week. So because I wanted to watch something badly that night, I said, okay, I'll just do a free trial since they're not going to take my my login information for whatever reason. So when I tried to do the free trial, that wouldn't work either. It kept saying log in. So obviously something was going on with the website and it was screwing up. I was like, son of a bitch. So anyway, I started playing around on the site looking for help. And then at the bottom of the screen, it said ways you can watch Shudder. And one of them said Google Play. And I was like, holy shit. My TV comes with Google Play. Boom, problem solved. So there you go.
Brandon, quick question. This story or the Lucky the Cat story? Which one should be excised?
Oh, God.
I think he beat this story to death with Lucky.
I'm teasing, man. That's all. We love Lucky. We love Shudder. We love Google Play.
And
Tip your waiters, folks.
and we love our local wait staff.
Tip your waiter.
Wait, who said tip the waiters?
I did, and I said it before you made your joke, so fuck off.
No, but he didn't know about that.
He was on the
Wait,
show.
he didn't?
Yeah, he was.
I was here.
Yeah.
Remember
here
when
for
you
that?
invited
Oh.
me to be on the show? And
I didn't know. I didn't know if you
Reluctantly.
were here for the wait story. For the
am I
you
am I
imagine
not
that?
that memorable?
Oh, I don't know. All I know is we're doing triple R's. They're taking 6 hours.
Hold on one second, because
Yeah, welcome back.
Mr. Watson will guess this correctly. I almost guarantee it. Mr. Watson, what movie has been playing on loop? There's no sound. What
Oh,
movie do you
I
think
haven't-
I'm watching? Just out of any movie that you think I'd have on right now, what movie would it be?
Oh gosh, I
He
Christian,
told
this
me,
is-
and I still don't remember.
this is such a random thing. I have no idea, buddy. Like your picture, your image is not up on the
No,
on the
there's
Skype.
no. You just have to take a guess of what dumb movie would I have on in the background. You wouldn't even
Which
see it as my
dumb
picture.
movie?
Yeah,
Would it be
there's nothing.
Home
behind it.
Alone 3?
No,
No.
but it is a sequel.
I don't know, man.
It's a horror movie.
I
Prom
don't
Night
know,
4.
buddy. What do you got?
Prom Night 4
Oh, you know,
on loop.
I back you on the Prom Night 4, man.
Yeah, I know. It's got boobs, butts, people getting burned on a cross, gore. It's actually really good. It's on for the
I
second
like
time
2
now.
and 4 better than 1. Just gonna throw that out there.
What?
Yes, dude, 1 is so boring.
I don't
I
agree
like
with
it.
that, but
Ugh, it's okay. It's I don't know, like a 6.5 for me. It's good, but I don't know. I'll take 2 or 4 if I'm trying to have a good time over 1. 1 is strong because it has the budget and the performances. I'll give it that, but I don't. And that surprise kill, ending, I guess. But I don't know. If I'm gonna watch anything from Prom Night, 2 is like kind of my go-to, honestly. And I do like 4.
it is good. It's fun.
Oh, no, 3.
2 is fun.
Oh, 3 jumps the shark. Ooh, my
What?
God.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it does.
Watson. Did you have a triple R? Excuse me, that you wanted?
I
to
have
talk
a
about?
super quick one, and I promise I'll make it fast. It's called Vlogworthy from 2017, and the synopsis goes as follows from Amazon Prime, which is the same as IMDb because I did look. Des is a vlogger desperate to increase the number of views on her vlog and generate sales of her homemade jewelry. When she begins a new friendship with a publicist named Melissa, she starts to see the increase in traffic she's been hoping for. But when Melissa's plans to increase the views even more start taking dark turns, Des must decide how far she is willing to go to be vlog worthy. So, you guys, I could not even get through this movie. I never turn movies off. I never do it. And it's got gentlemen, it has a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb out of 320 views. You would think, okay, a 6.3, The Witch is like a 6.8. This has got to be something. I have a moderate, like, I don't want to say obsession, but I'm immensely fascinated by certain YouTube vloggers and the culture that surrounds like YouTube culture, and with my interest in YouTube itself, which is very different from vlogging, but I know the business end of YouTube a lot, and so I really wanted to see how this movie would tap into that culture and take a look at that. And the lead girl does a great job with her performance, I feel. But other than that, and I even had to, it got so desperate, I had to post on the 22 Shots page. That's how bad it got, because Justin
That's
has
bad.
Yeah, that's it. It's bad. I mean, they don't even know who I am over there. And but they're like, well, Justin has an issue, same as I do, with intentional glitches in found footage films, because this is a found footage film, Dave Z.
Oh.
And there are so many, and this is not hyperbole. This is not me exaggerating. It's glitch, just constant glitching. That's not real glitching. It's like the stuff you add in 2 seconds as like a transition or as something in post-production when you're in like Premiere Pro or whatever you edit with. It's on purpose. And it's so distracting, and I was getting so annoyed. And despite the fact that the lead character, Des, is gorgeous and she does a great job, I think she's definitely vlog-worthy herself, I couldn't see any reason why this conflict needed to happen. It felt like she could walk away from it. It just, maybe it was me, and I'm that way too. Like, you know, with a breakup, I'll say, well, actually, I'm typically more the it's not me, it's you. But that's what I guess, you know what? I'm just going to own this. That's what I feel like with this movie. It's not me, it's you. You done messed up. And so I couldn't even get through it, guys. I got like about a half hour in, and I realized I wanted to have a good time with my night. So I switched it up. Now, if anybody has seen Vlogworthy and they're like, Watson, you missed out on a good time. If you stuck it out a little longer, you would have been amazed. Then I could take that and I would honor that criticism and give it a second watch. Or second try, rather. But you guys, this is an avoid like I can't believe, and I don't turn off movies, man. This is,
wow.
Ooh, this was rough. So that's what I got, Vlogworthy 2017.
I can't believe it. That was a short review.
It was a short one.
You got a professional on your hands classing up this joint. So, well,
Brandon got
let's
that
see.
one.
You know what, you guys, in the spirit of just kind of trying to save the show and stuff like that, so we can have like more interesting people talking, I'll go for another one.
No. Wait.
I'm kidding, Dave Z. That was a joke against Brandon.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Okay, dude. I was gonna say, since you pulled out, I wanted to know what you put in.
You never pull out.
You know what I did put in? Oh, okay.
No. Wait till next round.
He pulled out and put it in a starfish.
Wait, Dave Z, that was a great joke, by the way. We can't gloss over that. That was fantastic.
Thanks. It had a dual meaning, of course, but yeah.
I glossed.
It's okay. All right. Round two. Ding, 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 ding.
Well, before I get into it, quick news. I don't know if this is news breaking or breaking news. Cracking wise. We change it all up here. But
News
Ghostbusters
breaking.
reboot next summer, 2020. There's a teaser online now. Very quick teaser. And supposedly Bill Murray is going to be back in it, and Justin Reitman is directing.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of hearing Ghostbusters rumors.
But it's coming out. They have the teaser and everything, but they're writing that it's going to be scary and it's going to be fun. So that's what really interests
And Christian will be reprising his role of the Stay Puffed.
Well, I'll just set you up for the next joke right here. My next movie is what's going to now make me lose credibility, and that's Countdown.
Countdown is the name of the movie?
Yeah, Countdown came and it went from the theater. I saw it in the theater. When a nurse downloads an app that claims to predict the moment a person will die, it tells her she only has 3 days to live. With that clock ticking and a figure haunting her, she must find a way to save her life before time runs out. And here's the God-honest truth. Maybe it's because I went midday with my son. We wanted to go see a movie together, and he's like, yeah, let's go see that scary movie. 8 years old, I would have never gone to a scary movie. It would have terrified me. He wanted to see it, so it was rated 14A. I'm like, okay, I think we could do this. We went, and we both enjoyed it. It's not groundbreaking by any means. It is fairly generic, but in this case, the acting really sets it apart, and I had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, I can't go too high without spoiling anything. Again, it's a killer app, but I thought there was enough cool stuff here. I like the way that she tries to delete the app, get a new phone to try to get rid of it. It just automatically uploads on her new phone. There is a priest character in it who is really funny. He was also in Final Destination 5. He played the goofy guy, one of the goofy characters. He's in this movie, Kraken-wise, munching on Eucharist. Like just popping Eucharist like it's snack treats.
Were we talking about that not too long ago? That tastes good?
I don't know, but we were.
Yeah,
that made me lose my mind. And then there's a snarky IT guy in it that I thought was good. So with the inclusion of these two characters that kind of elevate it, and the acting being above par, I came in at 6.5. I think a lot of people are going to come right in the middle of 5 and say it's generic, or it may even be a slight fail. But I had fun with it.
Nice, man.
And he's abandoned the head ratings.
Yeah, he's not doing the heads.
Shit. Mild head. It's mild rumble.
6.5 heads out of 10.
Mild head.
Sorry,
Great tonight,
sorry
isn't
guys.
he?
Mild head.
News breaking. Mild head.
God, I hate
Tell
you
Christian's
two.
really check that out.
Great podcasting.
I gotta get you some Eucharist chips or something.
I like what he said, Eucharist munching. The verb munching just really fits in there. I love that. Eucharist munching Irish bastard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. You shouldn't use the word munching with Eucharist.
No, you should
But
not.
that's what he's doing.
Yeah,
He's
'cause-
popping them in like they're fucking treats. It's awesome.
Yeah, I know, but it's like something. Oh, it's like something holy mixed with something dirty, kind of. Because when I think of munching, I tend to think of something else. And then,
Dirty and holy, like anal beads.
Oh,
the unholy rosary.
Eating out the Virgin Mary.
Whoa, see?
Oh wait, I missed the Virgin Mary joke.
I heard your joke, B. I didn't hear C.
I said, well, like what? Munching out the Virgin Mary.
And he repeated it, God, I'm sorry forgive him, for he knows not what he knows what he's doing, yeah.
Who's she kidding? This is an immaculate conception. Joseph's a dumb motherfucker. We're not going to get into this.
Oh, you're teasing.
The fucking milkman's been around 5 times already today. The Virgin.
I think it was the same person that impregnated what's her name, Anakin Skywalker's mother. Same thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, see.
Zeus liked to do that. He liked to go down and get with the chicks. Why not with Star Wars?
Yeah, maybe it was Zeus, or maybe it was Joseph. Maybe Joseph impregnated Anakin's mother because he felt betrayed by Mary.
Oh, he's getting back at the galaxy. I dig it.
It's the galaxy, indeed. Yes. Okay, let's move on.
Wow.
That segment
This
will be
is
edited out.
All right, I guess it's my turn, and this one's gonna be another short one because it's kind of along the lines of One Cut of the Dead, and that the less said, the better. Especially since I'm not sure how many of you have seen it, but it's The Lighthouse.
Aha! Thank you. You took mine, so that's gonna help me. Thank you. I can skip
Okay. Okay, so you have seen it. Okay, and I'll say this right now. After, the first 2 films from Ari Aster, Jordan Peele, and Robert Eggers here, I would say that Eggers is technically the best filmmaker of the 3.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, and I think this film, from a technical standpoint, is perfect. From a performance standpoint, is perfect. From a story standpoint, I don't know. I really don't know.
That's fair.
It's a little drawn, but visually it's stunning. I can't get over these performances by Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. Both were, I saw some people writing that every time Willem Dafoe spoke, he stole the movie, but
He was great.
he was great, but I gotta be honest, I feel like Robert Pattinson might have been the better of the 2 in this film.
Interesting.
I feel like he went full method. It felt like a Daniel Day-Lewis performance. And I know he went full method, and they say he was walking around pissing himself, leading up to this role and stuff like that. But the story itself, about these, 2 lighthouse keepers on the remote island, set in the 1890s, it's basically what it is. They're there for, I think a 4-week stint on the job, and I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's a character study and sort of like a descent into madness. I mean, it really is. That's what it is. And there's a lot of imagery and a lot of, comparisons with Greek mythology and a lot of open interpretations on certain things you see and certain things that take place throughout. And, this film will benefit not only from a second and third watch, but also from a watch with subtitles, because that's another thing that Eggers has done with his first 2 films is with The Witch and with this. Man, he is really a stickler for being authentic with the languages of the time. And this one I found harder to follow at times than I did The Witch.
What do you mean? The way
The
accents?
dialogue, the dialogue with the accents, I couldn't make out everything.
I got used to it after about 15 minutes. It's weird. At first, it was jarring, and then I kind of settled into it.
There were certain scenes, especially towards the middle and third act, some of the really heavy scenes of them, having dinner and drinking, where I was like, I really need subtitles because I'm missing something. Like I'm picking up like every other word. But I don't want to say much about where the story goes. It's visually stunning. And man, I love the idea of shooting this in the aspect ratio he did.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the movie theater and it's on like a third of the screen.
I know. Something else I got used to after 15 minutes, half an hour. I forgot
exactly.
Right.
The first time I saw it, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot he did this, and then I'm like, man, this is weird. And then all of a sudden, it just was
It stopped.
Yeah, at times it even felt like it filled the whole screen.
Yeah.
And it
weird, huh?
had this feel of these like old like German films. Like it really did. It had
I was gonna say Dread, but that's one sense of Dread right there.
yeah.
You know.
It was man, it was really really well done from a technical standpoint, and you know, I would love to hear people's actual thoughts on the story and their interpretations of what's going on, because I saw it with a buddy of mine, and even though we both kind of zonked out for a little bit, and I blame that more on the recliners in the theater than anything, it's certainly intriguing, and there's certainly a lot of open-endedness to what you can take away from this. But I'm in a high half head explosion as an overall rating right now. Technically, it's perfect.
Great technically, no question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. No, I'm a full. I told you my 3 were all full heads.
That's
so
right. You did say okay.
I'm still with that, and the performances were great, and I loved the look of it, and I have a pretty easy interpretation of what I think happened, but I think people can take different. I think they can pull different things from this. But again, it was only the first view. Who knows? I got to go back and see it again. Like
yeah,
you said,
that's why I want the
subtitles.
subtitles on, because it's it's obviously it's really all dialogue for the most part. I mean, it's there's some other scenes outside of the dialogue that are important, but it's really just heavy on the dialogue. So it's if you miss something, you might get a little confused. I'm
going to ask you 2 questions, and then we're going to move on. And let me tell you this: I listened to I listened to Fresh Cuts with Mike and Jerry, and they went deep into it. I saved it. I think they watched it like 3 weeks ago, and I wanted, because I knew I'd be into the movie once I saw it, being Eggers and everything. So I wanted to hear their take on it. And Jerry said something during it. 2 scenes where he said somebody was laughing, and neither did I think it was laughing. The first is this, and this is going to be, I'm going to say it without spoiling. The first is when something is discovered, or somebody is discovered, in a certain place on the water by one of the characters. He says that the thing that he discovers laughs at him. To me, I thought that thing was screaming at him. Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then we'll move on.
I do know, and I'm trying to...
Laughing or screaming? Okay, well, if you don't know, that's okay. Okay, let's focus. Let's jump to the end of the movie.
I felt like it was screaming. If I had to
okay, so
one.
do I. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the end of the movie, and what we see at the end of the movie, where somebody goes somewhere and sees something.
Yeah.
Is that character laughing, or is he screaming? Again, Jerry says laughing, and I thought screaming.
Definitely not laughing, as far as I'm concerned. I could be wrong, but again, the first one, I'm kind of thinking back on, but the second one, without a doubt, I thought screaming.
Okay, that's fine. Then
that's what made it more horrific. It almost felt very Ingmar Bergman, also, like Cries and Whispers. If anyone's ever seen that movie, haunting, very haunting film.
And I'm not saying this because of the director, because it's what I want it to be, but I definitely think that this does constitute as horror. I think that what we're seeing here is definitely horror. I think that what happens at the end is horrific. I think that what's leading up to it, and it's all happening for a reason. I don't see why people are questioning it. I didn't know. Again, I'm the same guy that also questioned One Cut of the Dead for a bit, and another movie that I saw earlier this year, where I 100% watched this movie expecting it to be a horror movie, and at the end of the movie, I declared that it's not horror.
Was it one of Christian YouTube films?
Nope.
I'm sorry. I just want to
Cannibal Club. I don't think Cannibal Club was horror.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Said it was horror. I watched it, I'm being honest with myself, and I'll leave it at that. So, whatever. That's it. That's the Lighthouse. Watson, what did you put in?
I put in Hagazussa for my second viewing. And Dave Z, have you seen this one yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And so let me just give a quick synopsis from Amazon Prime. In a remote alpine village in the 15th century, the orphan Albrun grows up to become a marked woman, the scapegoat of ancient superstitions and monstrous misogyny. The self-styled witch begins to assert her otherworldly birthright. I would just say birthright, not otherworldly necessarily. This is a movie that is largely about self-fulfilling prophecies and what happens when you are a scapegoat, when you're marked, and when you're not under the protection of the community, so to speak, and when maybe you are the butt of their very cruel existential joke. It's the slowest of slow burns. In fact, I'm not even going to use the word burn. It's just a slow, but it is masterfully filmed, art house style movie. Horror, yeah. I mean, it's horrific. It's definitely, I think it would appeal to horror fans. So I'm at what is between a half head explosion and a full? What do you have? Is it just half? Okay. The Void. Yeah, so I guess I'm at a half head explosion. I do enjoy this movie. I think it's wonderfully filmed, and I think the themes stood out to me really strongly. I finally listened to an episode, actually you mentioned Fresh Cuts, that they did a while ago on this, and they had some questions about things, and I was really wishing I could have answered some of those, because there are certain scenes that raise questions, and I think I have this movie completely figured out. A very interesting character study of what happens when you are alone, and maybe it can feel like not just people, but even God is turning his back on you. I wouldn't say it's done to the level of, say, The Witch, that has a very similar very similar themes to it, but it's definitely something that I had wanted to view again this year. And so in lieu of, what was it, Vlogworthy, I stuck this in and was happy that I did. It's definitely a much better movie. I think people who like art house movies will get something from this, even if it's maybe not. I think that this director could have killed his darlings a little more. And Christian, I don't know if you've seen this, but I feel like the big criticism that somebody who's in the know with filmmaking would say is like, you could cut some scenes and it would not hurt. Like, you could cut a lot, actually. Still, it's definitely worth a view, and I think everybody should see it once. So, yeah.
I haven't.
I gotta say something. Sorry, go ahead, Christian.
No, Brandon, I was just answering to Watson, and I haven't seen it, but I will check it out for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out too. And Dave, you mentioned it also, and you know what? Based on what I'm hearing from you, from Watson.
No, you haven't heard anything I've said about it yet. I don't think.
No, I have no idea.
You talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago.
Maybe on the bonus show then.
Yeah, just quickly, but based on what I'm hearing about that, my personal thoughts on the Lighthouse and Midsommar, I think some of these films are starting to push the envelope of becoming. I don't want to say it. I don't want to sound like I don't know. They're getting artsy to the point of like ridiculousness, where they're losing. We're not all Rhodes scholars who.
Well, I am.
You might be, but
I'm kidding. I am
seriously,
not.
Like that was my main complaint with Midsommar, was just that like I needed to go home and research 10,000 different things to understand all the imagery they're giving us for 2.5 hours, when at the core it's just a basic story that could have been told in an hour and a half.
So then, having said that, I think you will see Hagazussa as being incredibly, and this is definitely a backhanded compliment, because I do think there is something sort of badass from an artistic perspective when you decide you want to be self-indulgent. It's part of the reason why I love the Neon Demon when I finally came around to that movie. I love the self-indulgence that Refn put into it. This movie, though, is so self-indulgent to a point it's like, we could use a little less, buddy. Like, you can scale it back and strengthen the story by taking out that indulgence, because it is very indulgent. Like, as though this person's like, all right, I got out of art school. I know how to work this camera. I'm going to show you. And he does. Yeah. And to that end, that's impressive. But it's also like, do you need to show this much of that? And so I could see you probably having that criticism. I'd love to know, Dave, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, I'm going to make this real quick. I was really looking forward to it. As you guys know, I waited a long time to get my feet wet hardcore into 2019 movies, but I'm really hitting it since October. And this was one that everybody was blowing. That's what I saw. Everybody was blowing this one. So I was excited about it, and I heard it was going to be artsy. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to tell you what my notes say, and that's going to explain the whole thing. Mother and daughter, ? Snow, grown with baby, priest and skull, base. Okay, here's the rest. This will sum it up. Nothing much has happened in almost an hour. Dash. Then a few things happen, and I don't know what or why. And that's all I have to say. Half-head explosion. Yeah. But that's it. I don't get the narrative. and if someone's going to tell me they did, they're much smarter than me, or they've watched it 10 times or something, because I've watched artsy movies and I've made my own assumptions watching these and come up with my own theories. It's not difficult for me to do. But watching this one, I just could not follow whatever narrative they were trying to do. I didn't get a what or a why.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I found it like, and I this is going to sound so bad, and please nobody laugh, but I found it to be a pretty simple movie, honestly, but presented in execution in such a way where it's taking this pretty simple concept of self-fulfilling cycles of violence and complicating it. And I know that like JP, Justin from whatever that podcast is, really likes this movie, and we kind of joke around because he thinks I don't like it, which I do like it. A Half Head Explosion's a good, a decent review, but I think that it's a pretty simple template for a story, but then is complicated by more the imagery, and it's so easy to get caught up in these long takes. Like, cutting is fine. Alfred Hitchcock made a great scene in a shower that has a lot of cuts. It doesn't need to be a long take, folks, for us to be impressed by art house horror, and that doesn't impress me. But still, I'm just saying, yeah, Dave, yeah, that's fair, man. That's fair.
We're losing the storytelling, though. It's getting harder and harder to decipher, and it's really kind of angering me now to a point. I know some people are saying they get it, and you know what? I gotta call bullshit on some of these, because some of these I don't think there really is something to get. I haven't seen Hagazussa yet, or whatever, however the hell you say it, but with some of these, like what is there to get from this? It's really a simple story, like, yeah, throwing all this imagery and stuff, but is there a deeper meaning, or is it just experimental filmmaking for artistic sake, losing the whole the whole storytelling process?
Well, this movie really is about becoming the thing that people think you are. Like, when you start out not being that thing and everybody says you're that thing, you're that thing, you're that outcast, and finally you say, fine, that's who I am. That's what this movie is. And I feel like it could have been told much more easily than it was told. And so, yeah, that's what I got to say about it. And yeah, I'm with you. Who's next? I got one question, man. Tell me who next.
Actually, we're going to have to not do any more triple R's because we're on a time constraint, and we have a main event to get to.
Yeah.
So goodbye, Mr. Watson.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. We're gonna part ways here.
Yeah.
Bye, Dave.
Yeah, soon, Watson.
I just have one thing to say to Dave and Christian. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
You said this was gonna be a fun show.
Yeah, my bad. Man.
The loathing.
Much like the director of Hagazussa, I totally misinterpreted my audience.
He's on fire.
Oh, man, we're having fun. We're having fun. All right, should we get right into
We're gonna get Watt Z numbers with this episode.
Oh, man, that big of a drop? You really think?
Oh,
Jeez, all right. The Orphanage from 2007. A woman brings her family back to her childhood home, which used to be an orphanage. Before long, her son, starts to communicate with an invisible new friend. I don't love that description, but
that's okay though.
Yeah, the
Watsy has fine numbers. Go fuck yourself.
Nice.
I'll edit that part.
Anyways, proceed on The Orphanage.
Okay, people. This movie here, another one I've talked about on ABCs, and when I did talk about it, I had my best viewing ever last time I watched it, and I was really up on it, and I said all kinds of great things. For some reason this time, I didn't come down. However, I am going to have a question that doesn't quite make sense to me, and I'm hoping, because I know B blows this movie, and I have a strange feeling that Watson is also going to blow it. So if this is the case, hopefully my question is answered, because that will affect where my rating ultimately lies. But
I give it the old double hand job, the old downhill racer.
Downhill racer?
This is my first time watch.
Oh!
This is the first time for you?
Yeah, this is the first time watch, man. And
what?
Damn. I told you guys that the last episode. I don't know why it's so fucking shocking to you.
We forget everything.
Wait, you were on the last? I didn't even know you were on the last episode.
It's Christian talking now, not Watson.
The loathing.
This is the mental note I took. I wish I directed this movie. I would have been very proud of myself. It would have been a movie that I would have been proud to show my dad, and I think he would have loved it, and I would have never made another movie again. And I mean that in a very positive way. I think, and I'm not saying I want to direct it differently. I'm saying I wish my name was the director of this movie. I loved it.
Do you think?
I fucking loved it, man. Like,
yeah,
Nice.
you think it's perfect, and he would have gone out on a high note, because I'll tell you this, I watched this with my dad, and I've seen this before. He had never seen it, and he fucking loved it.
yeah. I wish my dad was still around to check this movie out, because he wasn't big on horror films, but I think he would have really enjoyed the story here, because there's fantasy elements and everything. It brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah,
a couple of times at the end, and then the final shot. I know I got emotional. I got more emotional here than Dear Zachary.
It's a very emotional film, and it's got some beautiful imagery, very artistic and haunting and beautiful. Yeah. But it tells a story, and a rich story with lots and lots of heart. And the performances of Belen Roida, the lead, phenomenal.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Phenomenal.
I don't know. Again, I don't know if she's been in other movies that I would know, but she was fantastic in this. She's gorgeous, like gorgeous in I guess maybe in a traditional way. I don't know, but she's something about her. And
like you really want her to be your mom.
Yeah, and that setting, that location. You're right, Watson. But that location was just, mwah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
Dude, Del Toro. Del Toro. I wouldn't. It seems to me like Del Toro directed this movie, and he just
pre-presented it.
Right, but I don't know. I'm not so certain
like
that's
Steven
the fact.
Spielberg presented Poltergeist.
I think there's something at hand there, because it does seem just like a Del Toro movie to me. It really does.
What's the guy's name who directed?
We discussed
J.A. Bayona. Yeah.
Bayona. What he's?
I
It's
believe
like Jurassic World, and when a monster calls, or if
a monster calls,
a monster
impossible.
calls.
Impossible.
A Monster Calls was intriguing as well. I wasn't like blown away by it, but I definitely enjoyed that one too. And again, horrific with a fantasy element to it. Like I love that. I do love that mashup, and it is Del Toro. Dave, you're right. You're absolutely correct. Like that's a Del Toro-ism.
it's very much like his. I'm telling you. I think we discussed this when we discussed it on ABC's. I think we looked into the director, and I think that he had done this movie once before or something. I could be wrong. That there was another orphanage and it was a short or something. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just off my rocker. That's possible too. But I'm thinking that like
the shortenage.
The shortenage, yeah, the shortening, yeah. I think Del.
Oh, come on,
Maybe
that was a
Toro
Lot
saw
Z
something.
joke.
Yeah, that really was. I'm sorry.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
What's happening next?
I'm kidding.
I hope you know I am too, man. We gotta fucking.
No,
poke
no,
some
of course,
fun.
of course.
I'm withdrawing. I have nothing to say.
Don't
'cause
withdraw.
Wait, Dave Z, did you do this with Court?
No, I did not do this.
Oh, I for some reason I had some memory from a couple years ago of you doing this on ABC's for the second time, like you'd already reviewed it on another show, and I couldn't remember who it was with. Okay,
That was anal with Court.
I think you said anal court.
I'm like, man, I want to go. I'm guilty. Take me to anal court.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
Guilty as
As
charged.
charged.
Oh my god.
You guys know what? Brandon and I, the reason I'm on this episode is Brandon and I have some almost history with this movie, and I can thank him so goddamn much for inviting me to this. No, the thing is, I had always wanted to review this back when I was still doing Horror Corridor, and about 2 years ago, I believe, I had invited Brandon to join me on an episode to review this with me, and it was kind of interesting when you read a voice message from Eric from Dark Discussions earlier in the show, because he was supposed to join us, but then Horror Corridor slowed down to a halt after that. That episode never happened. So I could not believe my eyes last night when B messaged me to take part in this, because it shows he cares and he wanted to review this with me as much as I did with him. What a guy. But
And I totally forgot Eric, like he forgot me.
yeah, hey, well, there we go. It comes full circle. Cycles of violence and ignorance. But, this movie, to me, this entire movie is an extended version, you guys, of the game that Laura used to play as a kid. You know, when she's an orphan there in that first scene as a kid. You know, it's the same game that she and Simone play, the same game that she and the ghost play. It's about a missing treasure, the search for that thing, and the hope that upon finding that thing, you'll be granted a wish. And in the case of our main character, Laura here, her son Simone goes missing, and she doesn't know what's up. Taken by ghosts, maybe. Maybe he's run away. He could be lost in the water. But no matter what, Simone is Laura's treasure. He's gone now. So at this point, she's got to follow the clues to find him. And if the rules of the game prove to be true, if she finds what she's lost, she can make a wish. And I think we viewers know that there's only one wish to be made here, and it's for Simone to be healthy and to live a full life. But as we come to find out very soon in the film, in the first act, he's HIV positive, and the prospect of dying young looms over him. So his fading mortality is like, it mirrors the ghosts of the orphans that still reside there at the house. I mean, they're children forever. And this right here is why I'm so glad B had me come talk about this. That's what makes this film so damn rich. We've got this Peter Pan Lost Boys motif at work here throughout the story. They mention it over and over. You know, Simone's invisible friends, these ghosts, right? They tie into that idea of Neverland. In that Neverland and Peter Pan, they're fueled by belief, by fantasy, which this movie embraces. But check it out. Like the Lost Boys in the story, and even in the horror movie of the same name, you know, Simone's otherworldly friends, they can't grow up. They're locked forever as children, unable to move on. And these characters, they're trapped, possibly in the same way in death as they were in life, just unowned, lonely. And so when you look at Simone's health problems that may claim him as a child, I mean, he could live a full life, but maybe not. And at that point in time anyway, and especially when you examine the way he ultimately goes out, trapped alone in that room, calling out, just pounding on the walls for his parents to find him. It's such a heavy take on this Neverland subtext. It darkens the whole whimsical notion of never growing old and staying young forever. Rather than getting to fly out windows and go on pirate adventures, it's just death. And like you said, see, I can't get through this movie without rediscovering that I do have emotions, man. So, yeah.
And that's when a movie gets me, like when it could draw like that from me as well. That's why I said earlier that this movie is an exception, because this has the weight of actual story and substance to it. But I said that I could even forego that if it takes me on an emotional ride within. But this also has the luxury of some great story to it as well. So that was a great synopsis. I'm glad I didn't mute you.
Oh, thanks. No, and you know what? It all just hits even harder when you think about what happens immediately before Simone disappears. You know, part of the structure of this game, right, is that something goes missing. That something is Simone. Then the next part of the game, which makes up the better part of this movie, is about the search, looking at the clues to find what you lost. And man, you guys, everybody listening, think about this. Simone was giving his mother a clue in the first act of the film on the day the other kids showed up. Like right before he goes missing, he's trying to show his mom Tomas's house down below. And had she let him show her that clue, she would have known possibly where he might end up, right? And the fact that she didn't know, as she innocently shoves those heavy metal bars back into the door under the stairs. See, on a second view, you're going to see a scene where these metal pylons or whatever those things are, these just heavy bars, they fall out of the closet, and she just kind of, it's a quick scene that you won't focus on the first time you watch it again, and you are going to see her shove those things back, and that's what ultimately traps Simone from being able to leave. And it's such a throwaway scene that when you watch it that second time, you're like, that right there, that inattentive to the clues inherent to this game, that's what sealed her son's fate and made him a lost boy. It's like,
you know what's funny? I didn't notice that that's what it was at the time, but I was like, because it's the point of view of the closet. Well, it's a shot from within the closet, and she shoves the metal bars right up, and it stops, hesitates for a second, for 2 beats, as that metal bar hits the camera. And it stays there.
It does. It does freeze for 2 seconds, but you don't even question why they're falling forward, because Simone moved them in the first place, and it's so haunting. And then the banging, everything that you think is actually haunting is actually real. And then obviously, we get the actual ghost story involved too. But man, you become well aware throughout the film that Laura's really only wish at this point, because I really feel like she knows. Simone's fate, given the fact that he's ill, is that she just wants to be with him. She even says that to Carlos, her husband. Mm-hmm. And when he gives her that necklace, the St. Anthony medal, and he says you give it back to me when you're with Simone. Oh my God, that just set it up for the ultimate, like, just perfect ending. That's exactly what he says to her. You give
I
it
didn't
back.
know he said that, but I do know obviously what happens.
He
with
says,
it, right?
"Give it back to me when you're with Simone."
Wow.
That sets up that last
Why
shot
would he say that?
perfectly.
Wow.
Because I think she says something like, "Oh, this is yours. Like you should have it." He's like, "No, you'll give it back to me when you're with him."
Wait, it's St. Anthony? He's the patron saint of lost things.
Yes.
That's crazy. And
Yeah.
see, B, I love that you mentioned her wish, because the next thing in my notes reads, at that point when she finally does find Simone at the end of the film, when she's granted her one wish, it's no wonder that her wish is to die to join him. And
yeah, and I love what she's told by Charlie Chaplin's daughter, Aurora, played by Geraldine Chaplin. About seeing is not believing, but you have to believe in order to see. So once she embraces her childhood again and becomes a child, then this world opens up to her, much like Wendy and Peter Pan. She gets to go back. She gets to be a child again and look after these kids, and that's her ultimate wish. And it's just
it ties back into the
it
ties back into the Neverland Lost Boys motif once again. That's what this story is. That's what makes it so beautiful.
It's
I wrote that too. Seeing isn't believing. It's the other way around.
Yeah, she was terrific too. Geraldine Chaplin as Aurora. That's Charlie Chaplin's daughter.
Yeah, that's
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, first question. I just realized something. If Baby Sackhead perished where we were told he perished, why would he have ended up where we ultimately find him later? Without spoiling to a degree. Remember, they tell the story and they show the cameras, and the other kids chase him in the thing and pulled his sack off and wanted him to come out, and he never came out, so he perished as a result of the tide and the caves and all that. That all makes sense. Child gone, drowned so long, swept up. Why would he be where he is when he's discovered later? Does that make sense?
Tomas?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That didn't.
I know what you're saying. I'm trying to.
No pun intended.
I'm mulling it over.
Well, I'm kicking myself because I didn't know we were spoiler free here.
That's okay. Well, we try. You know how the show goes. We try to be, unless we have to actually say it. And that's my first question. My second question is this: are we to believe that these tragic events happen? And I'm talking about the dinner with the children, which we find out later because of the paranormal people that come around and said, "What happened? What are you talking about? Why would they hurt you?" Are we to believe that this girl, who's our lead? Pardon me.
Laura?
Okay. We're to believe that Laura lived at this place when she was a young orphan and then left, and then years later came back to purchase it because she wanted to do her own little thing there. That's all well and good and awesome. But neither she nor the town were aware of this tragedy that happened there. They didn't find out about it until she discovered these 6. How can they not have known something like this happened? Makes no sense.
Admit, I question that. Why would nobody have any idea about what happened to the other children?
How wouldn't they never have heard about this happening? 6 kids just disappear, and she buys the house, and they never tell her this? Or the town? When these bodies are found, the town acts as if, like, this is the first they've heard of it. So in other words, there's an orphanage here, and 6 kids go missing, and no one gives a shit all these years? See, those two are major plot holes to me. And I didn't notice until this time. I'm like, what the fuck? Why would they do that?
Yeah, in terms of Tomas, drowning in the water, I think given the fact that he was hidden away in the house and even the orphans didn't really know about him, and he was, deformed and living in the hidden basement for his whole life, I could see, a tormented spirit being trapped to that house, even if he drowned, outside in the caves in the water. In terms of the
but that wasn't the spirit, that was his physical presence.
Yeah, but they never really, they don't find like his body.
Oh, I thought that's what they do find.
They find the bodies of the children,
the other children,
the other 5. They don't say 6 because Thomas
I get that
6.
part, but doesn't Laura find him, sack on the head and all, and then pulls the sack off? That's the physical manifestation she finds after. It's the first thing she finds after she finds her boy sleeping in the thing.
No, that's Simon. She finds.
Yes, Simone.
That's Simone wearing the sack. The Simone she's holding that she thinks is real is not him.
Oh, okay, that something melts away or something, right?
Yeah, Simone was
Okay,
wearing Thomas.
that's why it's not a note. That's why that one literally just popped in
Okay,
my head as we were
yeah.
talking about it, thinking about how we perished. But the other one with the orphans, that
No,
doesn't
you're
make
right.
no
You're
lick of
right.
sense to me.
I thought
It
about
dropped
it.
it right down.
I thought about it too, and it is a big issue. And I
Yeah.
don't know if, given the isolation of it, maybe the time period, because we're talking, what year would that have been? Like this, I guess the 70s, and an isolated orphanage. But even if this woman, this Belina, who was Thomas's mother, who punished the children for playing a sick prank on their son and chasing him out to the caves, even if she was able to disappear them, there were other workers there, which also had me questioning it. Like, it's not like she was the only one running the orphanage and she could have, disposed of the children and then disappeared and nobody be none the wiser. There was another head of the school. There were other people working there.
And why would she film that? I'm gonna film myself fucking poisoning kids. What good does that do? That doesn't make any sense why that would just happen to be on film.
Well, wait, what do you mean on film?
Remember they showed the film. They showed. Remember she found all those films, and that's how they found out about Tomas, and they were watching him. And remember Laura found those films, and she was watching them on her projector. And one of the things that she was watching on her projector was the dinner, because she knew exactly what they got fed, the berries and all that shit. They showed them having this meal. They showed the whole thing playing out.
Yeah,
and they did.
Yes.
It wasn't portrayed as us, as that being done for us, the viewer, saying this is what happened in the past. If that was the case, I could forgive it. But these were actual friggin' reels of film that were put on a projector and viewed by Laura.
Yeah, but think of it this way: that film was not the actual. That dinner was not the actual dinner where the kids were killed, because Tomas was dead at this point. So that was just a film.
Of
that
course
was just
he was dead.
No, because he's sitting there at the table.
No, he wasn't. No, Tomas wouldn't be there. He wasn't at the table.
He was.
She made
he was at the table at this point.
At the end of the movie, he was at the table when we say the Laura's thing. But when they show the videotape, pardon me, the videotape, when they show the film, the Super 8s or whatever the hell you want to call it, whatever it was, it was the other children, and the reason she made them that meal was obviously for revenge. So they showed it.
I thought at that point he was brought up out of the basement and was sitting there at the end of the table.
I think you're thinking of two different films, but I'll tell you what, I'm not going to die on that hill. It is possible. I won't rule it out. If that's the case, okay then.
No, either way, a crazy woman could make a film of her. She was so angry and distraught over this. But the big plot hole here is the fact that nobody even thinks to investigate the disappearance of the other kids. In fact, one thing my dad pointed out is why didn't the police, when they searched the house, find this hidden room? Wouldn't they have blueprints to this?
Exactly.
Stuff like that. So there are some plot holes. You are absolutely right.
But that one was like glaring to me this time. I was thinking she left this orphanage, and these are her childhood friends. She would never have heard that they all disappeared shortly after she left that thing, and that there was this terrible tragedy at this place, and she's just going to go to a realtor and buy it back, and there's not going to be any records of this happening at this place. That's a terrible tragedy. And I never noticed it. Yeah, well, okay, at least.
Well, I mean, the woman, the Belina, who killed, obviously disposed of the bodies in those ovens out in in the barn. But again, it comes back to the other people who were working at the school, because she was not the head, because Laura didn't even know about her.
She was there a short time, they said.
Yeah, she was only there a short time. So there were other people. So they kind of had to set it up differently, where she was the only one. Maybe it was like, if they had set it up where she was the head of the school and Laura nobody knew about Thomas, and maybe, she disappeared along with the kids and nobody knew what happened to them, and set that up as sort of like the backdrop to the story, then it could be a little bit more believable. But you're right. It is a hole. And I mean, I noticed it too.
Yeah,
and
that would make it stronger, B.
Yeah.
I don't mean to shit on it. I quite enjoy it, but these are a few things that kind of knocked it down. And then something else that happens. She is so involved in this game. When the first time they play the game, she has to be believing what's going on here with the seashells. She's running outside, getting soaking wet. Yes, you play along with the kid to a certain degree, but if you're going to run around and get freaking poured on and go this and that means you're believing what's being fed to you at that moment. Then all of a sudden, as soon as he shows the papers, that he discovers that are in the thing, and the game ends at that point. He gets his coin jumping up and down. As soon as he sees the papers with the freaking, that say that he has HIV and everything else, and then he's adopted, all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, you're responsible. You put this whole thing together." That doesn't really make sense to me either. Because you could see she falls hook, line, and sinker in his game. She's wrapped up in it. Like I said, she's running outside. She's giving her hair wet. She's all over the place. You see how curious she's like, "Oh my God, this is something that's really happening here." Then as soon as that happens, she's like, "Oh no, you're responsible for this. This is, this isn't bullshit." But.
Yeah, well, that's early on, and I think that plays into the Peter Pan theme. Is that at that point she's still like an adult, and she shows these glimmers of being a child. She gets really involved in the treasure hunt. But then once it's kind of discovered, where it leads to, she feels like she's been played by Simone, that he set it up.
Yeah, B, and I want to kind of piggyback off you there too, because I noticed that too, Dave Z, and the reason I think that's a really great scene, and hopefully we can sway you to maybe think of it like this a little bit, is that she was caught up with Simone's game, and there was the childlike sort of Lost Boys Neverland sense of the game. But the second that it gets real world, the second it gets adult with adoption papers and diseased children, and ailing children, then it snaps her back to, from becoming, from Wendy to being an adult again. And so it was just like one close step that shows us she's ready to believe if necessary, but didn't quite get there yet in the first act, I think.
Like Eminem said, snap back to reality.
Oh, God.
I can buy
that. Just like he would say it, too.
Exactly. No, I can buy that. I see that. She got caught up in the whimsy of the whole thing. And, yeah, I can buy that. Neverland, they talked about it right off the bat. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Again, I'm not shitting on it. These are just some things that I noticed, because there's some great stuff here, man. There is something funny. How about when she tears off that girl's mask? Why would she turn off a girl?
She tears off a bunch of kids, but I questioned that too. She ran right up to him, pigtails, red hair. She pulls the mask off.
It's so funny because that scene is like it's in my head right now, and I've never laughed at it or questioned it. And it's one of those things you pointed out that's actually funny after you point it out.
You know what scene made me laugh this time around is when she goes out to one of the outbuildings, and there's Benigna out there hiding in the corner, and then she goes from hiding in the corner, just kind of casually runs off in the woods with a shovel. Just I started laughing this time. I've never laughed at that scene. This time I just started chuckling, like, what the hell? She just goes traipsing off into the woods, like, I'm an old lady. I guess this didn't work. Whoopsie.
Well, but I hadn't seen it before, so I was actually creeped out by it.
Oh, yeah. It does look like she could be brandishing some big blade, so I feel that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about that scene in the bed? That was awesome. That was a great scare. She's like, "Oh, there's somebody in the bathroom." That was freaking brilliant. I loved that, man. Without giving it away.
They've done that in other movies. They've done that in other movies, but it was very effective here. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, it's all the presentation, right? So, yeah, I agree.
What do you think of Baby Sackhead? Because that scene in the hallway where
it's spooky.
The smooth camera work, the way, and we know that Simone had made contact with Tomas in the cave, because he has his friends Watson and Pepe, who his imaginary friends, who didn't come there and didn't come there with them. So he makes a new imaginary friend who's a ghost, and the first of the orphan ghosts that he meets in the movie there at the cave where Tomas died. And that's where I'm thinking
oh my God, you just answered the question that Dave had.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, why was Tomas's spirit at the house? Because he came from the cave when he left the seashell trail.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. He left with. I bet he was brought back there.
Yeah, exactly.
One of two things. Either he was brought back along with Simone, or in talking with Simone, he basically tells him, "Listen, dress up as me to maybe honor me, or here's where my room was under your stairs and by behind these things," and maybe told him everything about where to be and what to say and do. And then that's where, because that's not the ghost of Tomas there in that hallway. That's our boy Simone.
That is Simone. Yeah, but he says to him, he says to the mother, he's like, can he come back and play?
Oh, he does say that. So I bet he hitched a ride back.
Yeah, he left the shells, and when she's in the middle of playing game and runs out and sees all the shells, he's there already. And that's when he tells her about his house. And she's like, "Mom, come see his house." And he's like, "No, you're adopted. Get out of my face." And she smacks him. And
You've cracked the code though. No, that's great. We figured that out.
Sorry.
That makes sense.
I didn't hear that entire question that you asked the first time. I had to adjust some volumes here on my little mixer, and I had to take my headphones off, I think, as you were asking that question. So, yeah, well, I'm glad that helped.
Yeah, I came up with some stupid theory that his spirit was attached to the house because he was angry that he was housed there and tortured there.
That's okay. That's okay. That's what we
It was
do.
so obvious. He walked back.
Yes, he did. Wow.
Well, just needed a little help. Like, how the hell do you get back there? And, hey, you're going back there? Let me...
8,000 shells I laid out. But how awesome is that scene? How, like you could tell there's heartness to him just in that scene when they're first walking down the beach and you see the two sets of footprints.
Yeah.
Or footprints next to his. I'm just like, this is really story driven. Even though it's beautiful to look at and haunting and atmospheric, it's still, this is a story about people, and people are people.
People are
People
people.
are people, so why should it?
That's
Why
what I'm
should it
saying.
be?
Okay, let's mute him. Somebody mute him.
Christian knew what I was
Depeche Mode. Absolutely. Oh, and that's sad. That scene was sad when he does confront her, and when they do find the stuff there, and he gets mad at her, and he goes, "You're a liar! You're a liar!" And he's like, "You know what?" But he said, "I'm not gonna live to be old," and this and that. And he pushed him. "You're not my mother," and all that shit. That was freaking emotional shit, man.
Yeah, Tomas told me I won't grow up or something like that, I think is what he said. Oh.
Yeah, man. That's sad. And that scene when she does see Tomas and that creepy ass breathing that he does, and she's gonna rip. And then when she freaking hurts her fingers, and falls in the tub, that looks so. Oh, damn! That just got me.
But you never do
that's
see
nail.
that wound again. She pulls her fucking nail out,
Oh, wow.
and then I think her
You're
hand
right.
is fine for the rest of the movie.
She had a bandage on it, but nothing
Okay.
crazy. I think,
Okay.
yeah.
Then that's
Bandage
fine.
is
That
good.
explains
She
it.
got a
then.
finger transplant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, then that makes sense. Now here's one question I have about the end of the movie. Do you interpret that? Not the very last shot. That's obvious, but actually that kind of does solve that. That kind of answers my question a little bit. But I always thought that the end of that movie, the interpretation, is that truly happy for her, or is that sad? Because imagine yourself in that position. There's you being your age, and then there's a child, and then there's the other ones that are there, and that's you for eternity. You'd think you'd probably get pretty bored after that, after a little bit of time. Imagine you can't talk to adults anymore. That's the rest of your thing, babysitting, for the rest of your fucking existence. I don't know. How happy is that?
That's a really good
Are
point
you
because
talking about his face or her face?
No. He has nothing to do with it. I wasn't talking about the very, very end. That shot's I'm talking about right before that when we see, where Laura ends up for eternity. I don't know. Is that paradise or what?
You stole the word. I was gonna say it's paradise for her.
But you think it is?
Yes.
You're an eternal babysitter.
I think it is for her, but like for me, I'm kind of a piece of garbage as a person. So come Friday and Saturday, I'm gonna be like, I'm as garbage as C suspects I am, and I'd be like, okay,
That's
so
fucking garbage.
yeah, right. But I'd be like, okay, so
Like
it's
an Oscar over here.
It's Friday and it is Saturday, so this is my bar night. Are you guys good to just chill and I'll ghost myself back here when I'm done? Like it's not going to be paradise for me, but in a way, I mean, she followed the clues, and even though it wasn't she didn't find him the way she would have liked. She was a little late to the game as far as, because the game is she lost something. Now she's got to follow the clues. She did. She found her boy, maybe a little too late, but they still get their wish. And I do think the wish is genuine. I really do for them.
I think you might be looking at it a little literal that they're just trapped in this house now forever. I think their story is finally like put to bed, and they'll probably descend to a heavenly place.
Ascend.
What did I say?
Said descend.
Oh no, ascend. Sorry. Yeah, no, they're not.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you
Man,
guys?
it's getting hot down here. Where are we going? Well, Simone, you yelled at your mother. You committed suicide. You committed suicide. You kids killed Tomas. Tomas, you could ascend. The rest of you were you said things.
We're all Catholics, so you're in hell for sure.
That's about it.
Maybe munching the Virgin Mary for eternity.
munching some Eucharist.
Woo.
No, but do you guys think they're still at the house at the end of it, Or do you think because I don't,
Of course
but
they
like
are, because what do you mean? The last shot, the very last shot, of course they're still there.
The house is
Because-
that the actual image of him going back to the house and showing the house sort of empty of all the
Yeah.
furniture and stuff, to me implies a clean house, not only literally but figuratively. It's this is clean of spirits and they've ascended to heaven.
No, then what's his look?
The medallion, which says to him, "You can give it back to me when you're with Simone." He finally cries and sheds a tear and a smile because he knows that his boy and his love are together.
Yes, but the very last shot isn't showing that. It's something walking into a room and him seeing it. Either that or he's
And
the worst
smiling.
actor in the world.
It's
Yeah.
No, he's just looking up and smiling for the camera. Nothing's walking into the room.
No, the door's
I
open.
see.
The door's open.
Yeah, the door's open.
There's
Thank you,
the
sir.
physically
Yes.
open.
Yes, and that
Yeah.
is a throwback. That is a callback to earlier in the movie when they're at that grief meeting and they all say they've seen their loved ones at one time or another.
He picks up the locket or whatever it is, and
Yes.
there's a noise, and then it cuts away, and the door's open, and you see him
Yep.
revealed there. I thought it was at first I thought it was what he was seeing. Then I realized no, it was just him from afar. Then it cuts back to his face, and he smiles, and then it cuts to the
Okay, so
orphanage.
if the doors are opening and he's looking up, then he's seeing Laura and Simone
Right.
together.
Certainly,
Not
they're
dead.
still
But
there.
he can't be dead because then he wouldn't smile though.
No, he's smiling because they're together. They wouldn't appear as ghosts. They would appear, in
okay.
this divine light, and then maybe disappear
Right.
and ascend to heaven. Then
so yeah,
Right.
so, don't
should
you
there be light
isn't
on his
it-
face, illuminated,
No.
or would that be
well,
too
shouldn't
much?
what is this? The devil's candy?
Well, shouldn't we interpret that as maybe his last goodbye to them before they go?
Maybe.
That's kind of how I guess I see it.
Yeah, like a smile, like
Maybe goodbye doesn't mean forever.
good luck, Rocket Man. Godspeed.
It's a callback. They have that freaking meeting earlier on at the grief
Yeah.
counseling. They
Seeing
say
your loved ones. Yep.
that they've seen them after they've passed, and it's helped them with their grieving. So, and that's just, again, it's something that's mentioned earlier, and now we're seeing it take place. So
Good.
Yeah, that's great.
That's
Yeah,
fine by
yeah.
me. I liked it before too. It's funny that we're now making an issue. So what are those pills that she's taking?
Aren't they sleeping pills?
I thought they were the berries that poisoned the children. And
No,
she
those are
took them herself.
pills. They're capsules.
No,
Oh,
she
I
took
thought they were-
sleeping pills. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they're probably
okay.
sleeping pills.
Didn't she go out and pick berries and all that? Oh, that was just for the kids, but these time it wasn't going to be poison.
Man, she made a
fuck you
lot
talking?
of delicious looking pastry.
Yeah.
I would have eaten it even if it was poisoned. It looked so good.
Oh yeah, just like that little asshole in Pan's Labyrinth, freaking taking the food off the table. Here we go again.
That little
She
asshole.
took 2 grapes.
That
Yeah, but
little
come on.
asshole.
He says, "Don't do it." One freaking
Dude,
thing.
that
You
spread
can have
looks so good.
paradise.
I
Do
would've
not have
ta-
a piece of grape.
I would have fucking
Yeah.
taken a turkey leg, and I don't even like turkey.
See, because of you, mankind would have been screwed. You're just like freaking Eve in the graveyard.
Yeah,
Telling you.
you
The
prick.
graveyard.
But the graveyard, what the
Garden.
the garden.
Jesus. Dave just
Wow,
made this story dark. I was sitting there and said, what graveyard
It's only
is
Adam and
he
Eve
in?
out here, but what are all these gravestones for?
I'm digging up this Adam guy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to eat his fucking ribs.
Yeah.
He's
Oh
in
wait,
the
God
graveyard.
took one to make me.
Yeah, right.
There's one less rib.
She made herself.
Yeah.
She dug up Adam, took the rib, and made herself.
Oh boy. Well, is there anything else before we rate this sucker and bolt?
I mean, I'm glad you brought it up because I saw it too, and it did affect my rating. The
Me too. I hate to say it, but
no,
that's what
it
happens.
is a major thing that could have easily been fixed without really affecting
one
without
line.
affecting the
One
overall
line of
story.
dialogue could have fixed it, probably.
Yeah, even
there was
even just a word of
tragedy here,
a sentence could have fixed it. But anyway, I'm right there near the top. I love the story. It's got so much heart. 9.75 out of 10.
Woo-hoo. Wow.
I'm 9.5. First time watch. Like I said, the only reason I'm not at 10 is because I would like to watch it a couple more times. I feel like I never come out of the gate. Very rarely, let me rephrase that. Very rarely do I come out of the gate with a 10. Hereditary and The Wailing, I think, were the two.
Yeah, the wailing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm at a 9.
Yeah.
Watson finally stopped talking. Nice.
Oh, okay. No,
It's a Christmas
I wasn't sure if
miracle.
Dave was going to say more. It sounded like he cut off. I wasn't sure if he was going to say more. No, I'm going to come in highest of all. I'm still at up that narrative point, that little hole, that plot hole. I acknowledge that it is a misstep, but I think that what it's trying to get you, I think what it's trying to illustrate is that these kids don't matter. And so to that end, I think it accomplishes, it's like it accomplishes what it is supposed to, but not the way it should. You know what I mean?
Oh my
It's like,
God, though, but that sentence. That's
Yeah,
brilliant.
because they're orphans. Yeah,
don't-
nobody
yeah.
cared because they were just some freaking orphans.
that's
Fuck
how
it.
I've always taken it, because I
10
did
out of
think,
10.
yes.
Fuck it. That sentence is trying to portray that they don't matter. 10 out of 10. Watch it. You get a
So
6.5.
Watson,
Hey, thanks, buddy.
You did break up when you were giving your rating.
Oh.
I can only assume it was a 10 out of 10 because you said it was going to be the
Yes.
highest at the time. Awesome.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is a 10. And this is like, you guys, I'm not an emotional person, and I've maybe in the past been confused of maybe having too few of these emotions or whatever the fuck you want to call them. But this movie, this is my 6th watch, and every time it opens something up in me that just I don't know, it does something, and not many films do this. They're the ones that do, I prize and I hold dear to me, because I think that if you're a filmmaker, and see, you actually really, I mean, you're a piece of garbage and all, but you really moved me with what you said about how, you wished you could have your name on this, show my dad. And like, that really moved me, dude, because this is a movie where I would want to say the same thing. If I could make anybody proud in my life regarding, say, art, and it could be something like this, I would be able to hang my hat on this and say, I did it, Dad. Like, I did it, Mom. Yeah. This is mine. And that really moved me, man. So I just wanted to, in all seriousness, let you know that.
Thanks.
And I would say yeah, absolutely, buddy. And I would say that for you gentlemen out there, if you got a lady in your lives and you're deciding that you want to reveal to her your sensitive side, maybe it's date 2, you want her to know that even if you are a pig, you're a nuanced pig who's in touch with his emotions. Show her this movie. Let the waterworks flow a little. Don't ugly cry or anything, but hold her close, sniffle a little bit, break out the tissue, and then I'm just saying this movie's a deal maker. It's actually got a perfect record for me, if you know what I'm saying. Very good, 10 out of 10. I love the way this transcends genre lines. It's just a rich story, and I can't wait to show my son this, because he couldn't watch it with me last night because he fell asleep. But great movie, and I'm glad to be on the show to talk about it with my buddies here. So thanks, guys.
That's great.
Boom.
If that movie
Hall
doesn't
of Fame.
work, if that Hall of Fame it is, and if that movie doesn't work, put on Dear Zachary and watch it on the 3rd date. Yeah. But instead, grab some popcorn and laugh through the whole fucking movie.
Or put on Schindler's List and rub one out. Sorry, I don't know where that came from.
Or Dumbo, man. Dumbo is the movie that makes me cry. There you have it.
Oh, wow.
The
Okay.
remake with Tim Burton?
I didn't see it. No, but no. Baby Mine is the most emotional friggin' scene maybe ever for me. It really, it's taken on an even greater, it even hits me more since the day I found Lucky. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but when I had,
folks.
my wife was putting on this, listen, my wife was putting on this nursery music for the baby when he was new and helping him sleep at night and this and that. And the musical version of Baby Mine came on this freaking station, like an iTunes nursery song station. And I'm sitting there with this little baby and freaking thinking about the shit that he went through, poor guy. And freaking that song came on. I was thinking about that movie and it hit me. I was like, oh my God, this is Baby Mine. And it freaking upset me. And I was like, and I had to tell my wife about it. I said, you know this scene from Dumbo? I go, this song and this freaking movie, to me, always hits me hard. So, gentlemen, that's the one to watch with your women. That's the one.
You know what's even more
Other than
upsetting?
Dumbo.
There's a family out there driving with 3 tires looking around for this cat that they lost.
Poor little girl crying herself to sleep every night. Oh, just so the listeners know, next week we'll be doing a feline themed show. We'll be doing Cat's Eyes, 7 Deaths in the Cat's Eye, and Lucky will be guesting. And he'll be telling the Dave Z story about the day he was kidnapped from his loving family when he was just out chilling on the side of the road.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, Watson, you saved the day. All right.
Jeez.
Is there anything you want to say before we leave, Watson?
Yeah, actually, I'd like to just really quickly plug the Watsi Party Horror Show. I know that there are some listeners of Exploding Heads who are just cluing into it, like Jill Ellis, or is that her? Wait, shoot.
Yeah.
She even made a post like, I slept on this show, and I'm so glad I finally got to it. I know there's some Headites out there who, if you appreciate Exploding Heads, and you absolutely better. These guys work hard, and this is like my favorite podcast, and I'm so glad that I sneak in when I can and hijack the show. But if you like this show and you better, then you'll appreciate what Dave and I do over on our podcast called the Watsi Party Horror Show. It's like when two hot celebrities blend their names. I'm the Wat, he's the Z. We're the heads of the Watsi Party. And all I'm going to say, it's a 3-act show where Act 1, Dave Z leads us through monthly horror releases. Act 2, we do a big topic of discussion. Act 3 is when we get deep into a review, much like we did here as friends here tonight with The Orphanage. And it's spoiler-free, but then we have an after party after the outro music and plugs are done where you get spoilers. It's a one-stop shop for horror. If you love this show, but maybe you're like, oh, I wish there was a little more, come over to the Watsi Party Horror Show and listen there. You get Dave, who you know. If you don't know me, sorry. Sorry that you don't know me. No, but so apologies ahead of time for that shit. But no, if you Headites would be so kind, fellow Headites rather, because I'm one too. Check out Dave and me over at the Watsi Party Horror Show. High-end audio production, deep dive reviews. You'll dig it, and I'm happy to be here, guys. We do our jokes, we get serious, but I love how you guys bounce back and forth between those two extremes of 1 minute you're talking about cunnilingus on the Virgin Mary, and then the next we're deep diving into the subtext of The Orphanage. What you fucking guys.
All right, so I'm holding up my cell phone, and Christian and Dave are asking me what's going on, and I just really wanted to interrupt real quick, saying I just got a message from Jill Ellis saying she wasn't sleeping on the show. She fell asleep listening to the show.
I had the exact same joke. I was waiting for him to stop talking to crack that exact same joke.
Wow. Oh, Dave, can we mute these guys?
Wow.
That right there, folks, is what we call the low-hanging fruit. So
if you listen carefully, you can hear a story.
We're the shallow end of horror. We always go for the whole low-hanging
I love it.
fruit.
Indeed.
And I wouldn't have it any other way. But thanks for having me on, guys. It was great to talk with you about The Orphanage.
It's just like Eve.
Anytime. We love it.
Thank you for being here. And Watson will be back for our end of the year show, top 19 of 19.
Jeez, that's coming soon.
Yes.
Fuck you, BNC. I'm coming back again.
Great.
Boom.
Well, we know what was that movie? That slow movie? That's number 1 that he was talking about earlier.
Yeah. Hagazussa.
And One Cut of the Dead is not on the list, but he loves it dearly.
Pass.
Pass. Nice. Okay, before we wrap it up really quick, guys, we want to get to episode 100. We want to get 200 ratings on iTunes. So get on to iTunes, please, and rate us and subscribe. That helps us out a lot. Please do it. We're going to have a big giveaway on that show, too, whenever we hit 200. Hopefully it's episode 100, which episode 100 is a big one. And if you want to be involved in that, just join the Patreon, because then you can get a free entry. Just write down your top 100 movies for the decade, 2010 to 2019. You have a free entry in there, along with many other fine friends and podcasters that we are collaborating on this big show with. And Patreon, www.patreon.com/explodingheads. Get on there. We have a free bonus episode a month. We have a video of what's going on here right now. We have early access video, early access audio, a couple giveaways of digital codes, and some other stuff on there, man. So get on there. The price is right. So anyway, B and C, do you guys have anything else before we say goodnight and goodbye?
I just want to say thank you to all the listeners. Thank you to you guys. Thank you to Watson. I'm so glad you joined us. I know I reached out to you last minute last night, but after I watched it, I was like, he's got to be on this. We were talking about doing this for years, and it's really awesome that you joined. And all the roasting is always in good fun. We love you.
Yeah, I want to.
Yeah.
I'll
really
echo
is.
that. I'll echo that.
Yeah.
I don't believe you. See, I believed B, but I don't believe you.
No, I'll echo that. I hate
Surprised
you.
he doesn't believe you. I'm the one who's lying.
That's why I echoed it.
No.
Awesome.
Still going for the low-hanging fruit, but
Awesome. That's what we do. No,
thank you,
I
everyone.
love you, listeners. And Watson. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were saying you love Watson's listeners. I'd be like, you love all 0 of them?
Yeah.
Hey.
My God.
Yeah. This one
Hey.
goes out to you, Chris.
Yes.
He doesn't listen.
Absolutely. And our next show, episode 91, we are going to be doing the VHS trilogy, VHS, VHS2, and VHS Viral. So we'll see you guys when we see you. Watson, thank you again. Guys, it's been a blast. And that's it.
Peace out.